Now join Brough Scott at Newmarket for Channel 4 Racing.
Channel 4 Racing, sponsored by the Daily Mirror.
Have your V-Day bet, gentlemen. We're betting without Tahib. If your horse wins, you win at that price. If Tahib wins and you're second, you win at the same price.
Yes, for the first time on a British Sunday, we're allowed to have the hopeful hearing the odds on the horses, as well as the faithful called to prayer in churches around the country. Hello everyone, and Newmarket has today put on its very best family sunshine face to greet this first ever Sunday race meeting in Britain, complete with betting. Newmarket, so cool and harsh a place when the cold winds blow, it seems direct from Siberia, has today opened its gates with full summer flourish, and 20,000 plus racegoers, many of them first-timers, can sample the strange and glorious mix of entertainment and of people that a day with the horses can offer. And at the centre of it, they're coming to what is a classic day. The big race, the Madigan's 1,000 guineas at 3:45. Everyone has to be hoping for something even half as good as the epic finish for the Madigan's 2,000 yesterday. That tremendous closing duel when Pennycamp picked off Celtic's wing and then just held off the English horses' counter-attack. Thierry Jarnet, champion of France, are rightly applauded for riding this Rolly Mile as only a champion can. Sheikh Mohammed has horses all over the world, but this day and this colt at Newmarket will be as good a moment as owning gives. Today, his Moonshell tried to do something even more special in the 1,000 guineas, for he spent her winter under the Sheikh's direct care back home in Dubai. What's more, her most fancied rivals are owned by the Sheikh's brother, Sheikh Hamdan, Akarid, whom Willie Carson's opted to ride after long days of indecision, and Harayir, who reappeared so impressively on this track at the last meeting.
Well, the only comparison you can make between the attendance now is what normally happens on 1,000 Guineas Day on a Thursday, and I'm certain it is up. A youngster here come racing for the very first time. Plenty of people here who've never been racing coming up to me and saying, are you the kind of strange people we meet when we come to the racecourse? So far it looks like a great success on the course here, with new people coming racing for the very first time. Now, you remember Pennycamp yesterday won the 2,000 Guineas. It was the 11th time the French had won it. They've won the 1,000 Guineas 15 times, but never have they completed the double in the same year. And Macumba has been backed on the course at 8-1 and 7-1 to make it the first time in history that France have won the 1,000 and 2,000 Guineas in the same year. On the course, Akarid is put in the 11-4 favourite. That's the price against Akarid here on the course. They have backed Harayir in 1 or 2 bookmakers, went 4-1. It's now 7-2 Harayir with 7-1, as I say, Macumba. So the two early horses backed are Macumba and Harayir. Moonshell is put in at 6-1. It's then 8-1 Epigris. A lot of money for that round Newmarket way, Epigris, and 10-1 myself, and virtually 12-1 bar, that's Gay Galanta. So the early prices, as I said, are for Harayir and for the French filly, Macumba. But a youngster here, I think I'll ask him for a winner. Can you give me a winner? Oh yes, he fancies Harayir!
Ever since he tipped Pettycamp to win the 2,000 guineas, he's going for the big double. Watch out for Big Mac today. Now, how would you like to try and win £500? That's what we're giving away in our champion tipster competition. All you've got to do is pick 3 horses that you think will finish in the first 3 in our 4 live races. Here are the details. 3 horses per race in our 4 live races, 2, 2:30, 3:05 and 3:45. Points are awarded according to the SP. So if it's 2 to 1, you get 2 points. If it's 10 to 1, you get 10 points and so forth. And if you get a winner, you get a 10-point bonus. Basically, the one who gets the most points at the end of the day will win the £500. Worth having a go. 0891 99 1148. Now, the horses are just leaving the paddock, so you've got about 7 minutes to go. Do have a go. The number to dial again, 0891 99 1148. Now, yesterday, you remember we came off the air because the last race was very, very late off. So here are yesterday's details. Maximum points were 207. So if you've got 110 or more, and that seems a pretty low total, that. So if you've got 110 or more, I get on the phone pretty quick. The number to dial to claim is 0990 100 366. I'll repeat that for you. 0990 100 366, and you must come on to claim over 110 points or more. And if you've got the most points, you could be the winner of £500.
There's a lot of water put on the track here last night, the equivalent of a quarter of an inch of rain, and that has kept the ground good to firm in all places. There was a danger to be actually firmed up. It's good to firm right through the track here on the Rolling Mile. Our first race, 7 go in that, 3 of them still unbeaten. That's for 3-year-olds over 7 furlongs. 12 go in the Ladbroke First Sunday Handicap over 1.5 miles, because number 12 Bayrak is out, and Willie Carson, Bayrak's rider, now switches to Microlight. Then 8 go in the Madigan's Pretty Polly at 3:05 over 1.25 miles. 3 of these are in the Oaks itself at Epsom in exactly 5 weeks' time. Finally, the climax of the show, the first Fillies Classic, the Madigan's 1000, 14 runners over the straight mile, and as expected, Brief Glimpse is out.
I can't bring you any good news from America, because in the Kentucky Derby that was run at 10:30 our time last night, the 2 British raiders failed to make the frame. Henry Cecil's Eltish finished 6, and a pretty good 6 as well, and Peter Chapelheim's Citadede was 9th. The race was won by a Wayne Lucas trained runner, a horse called Thunder Gulch, ridden by Gary Stevens, and he won at 24 to 1. We're going to get a recording of the Kentucky Derby. We'll be showing you that tomorrow during our transmission from Kempton on Bank Holiday VE Day tomorrow. Incidentally, Eltish ran quite well, just run out of 3rd place close home. Well, this is a very special day, racing on a Sunday with betting for the first time. And 2 guys who played an important part in this are these 2, both MPs, Robin Cook and Jim Pace. And wasn't it, I've got to start with you, Jim, wasn't it a year ago you said that there was a loophole, we can do it?
That's right. We identified a loophole in the deregulation bill, that it was a way of going forward, and basically we caught the opposition napping. And this is a wonderful celebration of how successful that was.
When you say the opposition, Jim, you mean those against Sunday racing?
Yes, indeed, Robin, just for a change, I'm not talking about the Labour Party, I'm talking about the opposite, those who would oppose Sunday racing. You're absolutely right.
Robin, you've had Sunday shopping up in Scotland for many years. What do you think of this? The reaction? Good? Superb?
Oh, the proof is in the pudding. Look at the crowd. We've got one of the biggest crowds Newmarket has seen, and that's got to be good. That was the reason why I was so keen that we should have Sunday racing. We're a leisure industry. You've got to provide your sport at the time when people have leisure. We've got to provide it at the time when people come. Particularly, we've got to make racing a family outing. And the only time we can do that is when the family can be together, and Sunday's that day.
Listen, when you 2 are slanging each other off from the other side of the house, which normally happens every day of the week, how important is it to work together to get this? How much did you work together to get racing on Sunday?
I think we can fairly say we worked very closely together on this one. I mean, it was non-political. There was a free vote in the House of Commons, so neither side was whipped. And we obviously had to persuade the government that they would not oppose it, that they allowed the free vote. We managed to achieve that. And then it was down to persuading our colleagues to support us, as they did in overwhelming numbers.
Which is good. Carry on.
There was a lot of discussion between ourselves. And this was an issue which, quite rightly, quite probably touches in areas of conscience. People have deeply held views on anything happening on a Sunday. That's why it's got to be taken out of politics. But those of us who wanted to see the future of racing secured had to work together to do that.
I've got to ask you, by the way, we heard that these new scratch cards, a lot of people are taking those instead of betting in the betting shops, and the betting turnover might be down. Can we get a decrease in the betting tax or anything like that, do you think? Or?
Well, obviously, we'll have to look at it as time goes on. I mean, there is no doubt that early figures do show a downturn, but it may well be it's because of the cancellations and abandonments in February. We'll have to wait a bit longer to get a clear picture, and particularly after, as you say, the scratch cards have come on. Obviously, the industry will have a sound case for going back to the Treasury and looking for a reduction in general betting duty.
And you'll support that, Robbie?
But I think that the racing can fight back. I mean, I think we can make it clear that you have got much better odds on if you bet on racing than if you ever take part in the lottery or in the scratch cards.
Exactly.
I mean, you are really throwing your money down the brander most of the time. And if the odds were expressed in the way we express them here, as odds on or odds against, nobody would buy a scratch card or a lottery ticket. As to the questions of betting duty coming down, frankly, we've got to look at the people who are short on the money. First of all, there's the racing in itself. I'd like to see more money come in there, and any cut in betting duty has got to be tied to that. And also the staff, both in racing and in betting. If there's going to be more money from Sunday racing, they've got to have the first claim on it.
Keep fighting for Sunday racing, keep fighting for British racing. And just quickly, what's going to win the big race?
I'll leave Robin to be the tipster. That's his profession,
Come
not
on,
me.
Robin.
You can tell he's a party politician. I think it's very difficult to make a decision between those who've run.
Come on, don't sit on the fence.
I'll go for Accurate as long as it's run Britain, but I'm actually backing Moonshell. I think it's worthwhile having
I
a
thought we
sporting
might
outside
get a
match.
spending commitment out of Robin there.
Thanks, fellas. Enjoy the day. Thank you.
Two friends of racing there, racing a non-political activity which is today offering a real all-party day out for every type of family and other parties. And the first race here, 7 of them in the Lord's Taverners Sunday Express conditions, guaranteed sweepstakes. It's a mouthful. Anyway, Lord's Taverners and Sunday Express joined up here. David Gower's going to present the trophy. 7 runners over 7 furlongs, and they're listed by Graham Gould.
And they come from stalls positioned in the centre of the track. Desert Courier at 92, Walter Swinburne. Magnificent Devil at 92, Brent Thompson. Peace Envoy at 11-4, Willie Ryan. Warning Shot, the outsider, at 33-1, is ridden by John Reed. Pearl Venture is 25-1, partnered by Wendell Woods. Tarheeb is 9-4 favourite with Willie Carson. And Office Hours, a possible front runner here, at 25-1, is ridden by Kevin Darley. Runners going round behind the stalls.
Eye catchers here. In the paddock, Magnificent Devil, who won the last meeting, stood out. Peace Envoy going down to the track, who was, of course, behind Celtic Swing last time. Pearl Venture went down badly. Peace Envoy is strong in the ring, and Tarheeb is weak. Jim McGrath is watching him go down, and so is John Frankham.
Yeah, 7 runners. 3 of these horses have had 1 run apiece and 1 first time up. That's Desert Courier, Warning Shot, and the filly who's favourite, Tarheeb. And Desert Courier looked to me as though his horse might want a little bit further. Just going in there on the left is the Danehill Colt Office Hours, and the last one to go in is the Martin Mead runner, Warning Shot, and John Reed.
So it's Magnificent Devil nearest to us, that's it. And the blue colours, 3 from the left, Tarheeb, the favourite, just a little bit slow to stride. On the right, Magnificent Devil in yellow, also in yellow Office Hours, the 2 who share the early pace. Settling in third is Peace Envoy with a pink cap. And taking quite a keen hold is Warning Shot as they come to almost 40 miles an hour. And this the Lord's Taverners Sunday Express Conditions Stakes. Magnificent Devil then under Brent Thompson leading by 3 parts of the length to the yellow colours of Office Hours showing second. Further left in the pink cap is Peace Envoy, tucked in behind them in the dark blue is Tarheeb. These are followed through by Warning Shot, the green cap, and then the red cap Pearl Venture, and the striped sleeves out the back Desert Courier. In the colours of Mrs. Doreen Swinburne, ridden by her son Walter. But up front, it's Magnificent Devil and Office Hours who stride majestically forward, coming past the 3 furlong marker. Back in third place is now Peace Envoy. Tarheeb, the favourite, Willie Carson, goes to work. Red cap towards the right is Pearl Venture, and the stripes lead Desert Courier is still sitting on them, but it's a wall of 5 now as they come down the dip, and it's the favourite on the left, Tarheeb, that strikes and goes for home from Magnificent Devil. Further left in the striped cap is Desert Courier finishing well. Pink cap is Peace Envoy. They're inside the final furlong now, and this is a thriller. Tarheeb in blue, pressed by Desert Courier the far side. Peace Envoy the stand side. Neither of the horses are going to be beaten at the line. A photo, Peace Envoy just from Desert Courier. Then came Tarheeb clear of Magnificent Devil, Pearl Venture. A gap then to Warning Shot and Office Hours, who was last of all. How appropriate that Office Hours should finish last on a Sunday. But the outcome of this, the Lord's Taverners Sunday Express Condition Stakes, it's gone to horse number 3, Peace Envoy, in the colours of Mr. Khalid Abdullah, this homebred Warning Colt, ridden by Willie Ryan, for whom he was the 12th winner of the season, and trained by Henry Cecil here at Newmarket. There is the evidence before your very eyes. Peace Envoy has got a pink cap nearest to us. The striped cap, the Desert Courier, the far side for Walter Swinburne. Sandwiched between the pair is the favourite, Tarheeb and Willie Carson. That's the 1, 2, 3. Officially, the judge calls a photo to the outcome of this race, but our evidence shows that Peace Envoy on the right has got up. He strode out well going down to the start, even better coming back, and Willie Ryan adds a little bit of history.
Given a good ride by Willie Ryan. This horse just tugged for his head a little bit early on.
Yeah, what a cracking start, John, though, for people, especially new people to the game this afternoon. Tremendous finish up the hill. And did you think that experience is important here? The winners had 3 races, and the second and third just having their second runs.
Yeah, they just lost their action slightly going down into the dip. And Magnificent Devil, to be perfectly fair, he never moved anywhere near as well as he did on his first run here. Ground a little bit faster here this afternoon, and now you can just see Peace Envoy just beginning to stretch, going for home, and Magnificent Devil in the middle just beginning to drop away. And now Willie Carson, head down, barely looks as though he's looking where he's going, but I can assure you he is. Comes to challenge Peace Envoy, comes to win, I should think, in many people's opinion. But then Willie Ryan's given this horse a crack, and as Jim said, a little bit more racing experience, knew what he was doing, got his head down, and in the last 25-30 yards he's gone away. Wouldn't say he's won cosily, but he's won nicely.
Desert Courier there, sorry, a little bit late with that remark, just saying Desert Courier the third. You could see on that near the end of the replay his inexperience, showing Walter Swinburne frantically trying to get him to face the bride.
And Peace Envoy at 11-4, second favourite, has justified market confidence in the ring. The late money was all for Peace Envoy over Tarheeb. That looks to be third, was sent off the 5-2 favourite. The runner-up Desert Courier, very weak in the betting, ran a screaming race, sent off on the shoulders 9-2. But that was one for those of you who come racing. With a great big crowd here, if they follow how the market goes, those market vibes, listen to the whispers. The whispered horse, no doubt about it, was Cecil's Peace Envoy. Back down from 7-2, returned to 11-4. Second favourite, here it comes in now, coming official. Peace Envoy wins the races. Desert Courier is second, and Tarheeb is third.
I suppose the fact that Warning Shot was unplaced and Peace Envoy won, appropriate on VE day. This horse got an odd action. At a canter he looks all right, but when he's galloping he rather shuffles along. Gives a strong impression, John, that a mile has suited him better.
Yeah, he also looks as though he's just a nice horse to deal with as well, because looks as though just pulled slightly for the first half a furlong or so, and then really got about his job. Nice and relaxed, got into a nice easy stride. Quite tricky this time of year, once horses have had, you know, some of these heavy-topped horses, once they've had a run on firm ground, then very often you've got to beware backing them again, certainly when they're running down for 3 or 4 furlongs of the course. Fairly say that's was part of the problem with Magnificent Devil. A tremendous start to the afternoon. Only about half a length between the first 3.
Possessive Dancer third over on the far side. Well-regarded colt, owned and bred by the Swinburne family. Such a good finish. We'll see it again with Johnny.
Yeah, and Magnificent Devil stepping up a furlong from his last run. Brent Thompson still made plenty of use of him, but he was there to be shot at, and it was Peace Envoy coming along on this side. Just have a look at the ground that Desert Courier's made up. He dwelt slightly, I thought, when Water Swinburne went for him. He's going to improve, certainly, for going up in distance. Tahib, only her second run, she's done everything right, but it was probably experience that won the day.
And here is the SP, first number 3, Peace Envoy at 11-4. Second number 1, Desert Courier, 9-2. And third number 6, Tahib, the 5-2 favourite. The total returns, win number 3, £3 40 pence. Places number 3, £2 10. Number 1, £2 40. The dual forecast paid £5 10 pence. All 7 ran.
With us now, David Gower is about to do some presentation ceremonies, but the man, of course, used to, a lot of cricketers into punting. Were you ever into punting in your cricketing days?
Not as much as one or two of my colleagues. I mean, the Bothams and Lambs of this world took it very, very seriously indeed. I mean, they were researching for hours, which is all part of the fun, I guess.
And a bit of sort of radio would be going on in the years and the slips with it?
Well, it's the system, all the information gets relayed, whether it's the soccer results, the racing results. There's always someone in the dressing room there who knows exactly what's going on and can pass it by some sort of message or other out to the field.
And Colin, in your day too? So Colin, how does
Compton and Evans monopolised the betting stakes, really. We just sat back and listened and didn't put our hands in our pockets too often.
And Lord Archer's here too. Were you ever tempted into the punting arena?
Only on general elections. Not on horses.
And did you always win?
Always win. And we will again.
Oh, yeah. Colin, you just go and do your number. Just a brief word with David. Sunday sport. Obviously, cricket had Sunday sport. Were there ever any hang-ups about that for you?
To be honest, yes. Nothing more than laziness, actually. I think, Sunday sport, I think, is ideal. I think as a spectator spectacle, it's perfect. I mean, people are free on Sundays. They like to watch sport on Sundays, provided it's all part of the entertainment. I think it's vital. And my only objection was I had to play it now and again. That was the problem.
Well, someone said to broadcast on it, but no.
Well, exactly.
And of course,
someone's got to work.
In your sporting days, you had your little run-in with authority. I don't think on a day like this we can get past without a mention of what you might call the old fart syndrome. What do you think about the Will Carling deal?
Well, I have to side with Will, very much so. I mean, they seem to have proven exactly what he said. I know it was an off-the-record sort of remark, which a soundbite rather more than the picture. And what they've done, their reaction simply proves that they've reacted well. They've reacted very badly. They've taken it far too seriously. I know no one likes to be accused of being old or a fart, but at the same time, I mean, to do this at this stage, I have a feeling they will struggle to find a man who is prepared to accept the post, because the loyalty to Will Carling in the side, by all accounts, is very strong. I spoke to Will this morning, actually, commiserated with him. He's taking it pretty well at the moment, but it's a big shock for someone like that. With the reputation, everything he's put into the game. I mean, the whole thing is set up beautifully for this World Cup in the next couple of weeks' time, and this is what they do. I think it's crass.
Do you think that actually, if you could bet on him getting back in?
It'd be an interesting bet, wouldn't it? I mean, as I say, if there is a certain solidarity shown by the players at this stage, it would be fascinating to watch what happens over the next few days and what the next reaction would be, because obviously they're going to try and appoint someone. And if they haven't got much time to do it, so they need to get someone appointed. They need to get the structure reorganised. They need, of course, to get the players' minds focused on the tournament coming up.
Let's hope we don't have it again. David, thank you very much. David Gower about to go and do his presentation duties, and we're about to take a break. See you then.
Wonderful idea of yours, Atkins, to test the new luxury Astra CDX in the desert.
Yes, it was because of my idea for the air conditioning, you see.
How could I forget it?
And the CDJD, the MD loved that idea.
I'll bet she did. Oh, but Atkins, we're forgetting that other great idea of yours.
Oh? What?
Well, comparing the luxury of driving a CDX against a more basic form of transport.
Oh, yes.
Are you sure this is my idea, JD?
Oh, come, Atkins. Modesty.
Oh. Sorry, JD. Oh, just a wee second. Wait a wee second. Oh.
There are still oceans to discover. Introducing Aqua Quorum, the new fragrance for men from Antonio Puig. Aqua Quorum, the choice of the America's Cup.
Have you heard about the breakthrough in contact lenses?
Contact lenses? Aren't they difficult to look after?
Think again. Now you can try an amazing new lens, one you wear for just 1 day. New one-day AccuView from Johnson & Johnson. You never clean them. Start every day with a fresh new pair. And each night, just throw them away. Want to know more? Ask your optician about a free 5-day trial or call. New one-day AccuView from Johnson & Johnson. Try them and you'll see.
Through Verilux no-line bifocal lenses, you can see objects at any distance.
Hello, baby.
Distance, no object.
Hello, baby.
Available at your nearest or furthest opticians.
Why a pair of 3D glasses? That's to get a better view of Colgate's first three-dimensional toothbrush. You see, your teeth aren't flat. They're three-dimensional. That's why the unique Colgate Total was created. The first layer of bristles are shorter to clean the surface of the teeth. Colgate Total also has a second layer of bristles. These are a little longer to clean right in between your teeth. Why am I standing at this angle? Well, that's the third dimension. Angled bristles to gently clean plaque away from the gum line. Try Colgate Total for a three-dimensional clean.
If, like Rex, you detest weeds, here is Roundup, a biodegradable weed killer. It penetrates through the weed and destroys it from the inside right down to the roots, without harming the soil. Roundup, biodegradable weed killer, leaving Rex free to enjoy his bone.
With me now is the man who's made a little piece of history, making the winner's enclosure on the first Sunday with betting. It is, of course, Willie Ryan. And Willie, I could say you judged that race to perfection.
Well, it wasn't quite like that, Derek.
Yeah.
It was a good race. My horse was very brave. He battled hard, really got his head down when I asked him, and I think he was just slightly going away again at the finish.
Oh, he's a good sort, isn't he? And where would he go from here? Is he a good prospect in the making?
Yeah, he's a nice prospect. It's difficult to say where he goes. I would imagine a race like the Jersey Stakes at Royal Ascot would be favourable to the connections at the moment.
Here we are. You're coming now inside the final furlong, and there you are. You're just now beginning to bring him through, give him a backhander to set him about his work.
Yeah, he is quite a lazy horse, and I saw Willie sort of creeping there quietly, and Wally appeared at the last minute, but as you can see from the film, my horse he's working hard there, and in the end he's got the better of the filly and Wally's horse.
I think these are three nice prospects, and it's a great start, a confidence boost to Guineas Day, because you ride Epicry, your first ride in the 1,000 guineas, and she's been earning rave reviews on the gallops. Why?
Well, she has been working well. Before the Nell Gwyn, she was doing everything right. We hadn't done an awful lot with her, but what we had done was good, and she went to Nell Gwyn and ran a great race to be second to myself. And since then she has blossomed. She's eating everything we're putting in her manger, which is a great sign, and she doesn't mind the ground. She'll get the trip, so we're hopeful, you know.
Tell us about she's done two good gallops. I remember last Saturday I came out and watched you, and she went about 7 lengths clear.
Yeah, she did. What can I say? You know, we're very pleased with her since the Nell Gwyn, and her work has been a lot better since the race.
So you're confident of a good ride today, but what about that ground? Do you remember we were talking after the first race here on Friday, and the ground was pretty good, but riding fast? What's the ground like today?
It's definitely firm. It's very easy to say there's no jar. I mean, some horses you ride will act on it, some horses you ride won't, and the horses that don't act on it, you feel it's rock hard. But there isn't really any jar in it. I think the clerk, of course, has done a great job. He can't get it any better than it is, and you know, apart from pouring gallons and gallons of water, which is just going to make the top come off and make the ground ride false. So, I mean, I'm quite happy with the ground. I'm sure there's jockeys that aren't, but so be it.
Have a good round the 1,000.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aye, aye. Bouncing up and down with a smile on her face, in between Mum's legs, and it really is a superb family day out today. and everyone's enjoying themselves. You know, some people say that racing can get a bit stuffy sometime, but look at this, Richard Quinn signing autographs, and normally kids aren't allowed up on the weighing room steps, but look at this, it's a great relaxed sort of atmosphere, and that's what today is all about. There's Willie, as popular as ever, and he's got a great ride coming up in the big race on the favourites, Harayir, going for his 18th British Classic success at the age of 52. Few better riders, if any, anywhere in the world, as he walks out for yet another ride in a first Sunday handicap, where Willie will be partnering a horse who's got a very respectable chance in this. Anyway, the crowd is here, the sun is shining, the weather's warm, and the scene is set for the first ever 1,000 guineas on a Sunday.
And we have the first official reaction to the merits of the 2,000 guineas yesterday. The official handicappers have raised Pennycamp to a new rating of 130, 130, and they've actually dropped Celtic Swing by just £1 to 129. So they rate 130, 129. Pennycamp as the Celtic Swing, that epic battle yesterday, and perhaps no one felt it more strongly than the man next to us now. We mentioned him just before, Sir Colin Cowdrey, part of the Angmering team. How did you all feel yesterday?
Well, I was the only one who was desperately disappointed. I think everyone else thought it was a wonderful race, and that he went well and finished well, finished happily.
But the dream of invincibility of Triple Crowns was dashed when Pennycamp came to you.
Well, I think that for me I was disappointed, but the others feel that's racing, and several more goes to go, and we take on the French again.
And Colin, all Celtic Swings fans, today, is he all right this morning? Because that's always the crucial thing.
I saw him come back last night, and he was very, very happy and good form, very cheerful character.
What are the mechanics of that? What sort of time did you get back last night?
He got back about 8 o'clock, had a good run, and at the end of the race apparently he had some grass and had a snooze, and so he's a very relaxed chap.
Oh, rather like your good self. And you have your Sebel has a runner in here, Arctic Thunder.
Arctic Thunder, yes. He's come back from a long-time injury. But I think we're just a little bit concerned that the ground is drying out again, a bit too firm for him possibly, but he's a very promising horse.
And perhaps it was a bit firm also for Celtic Swing, ideally, wasn't it, yesterday?
I think, yes, I don't think there are any excuses, but I think if it had been, they say, I'm quoting the experts, there's been a bit more cut in the ground, he might have just gone like he'd gone in the previous races, but yesterday he just found it a little hard, didn't he, to really take off.
Well, the Derby is another day.
Another day, that's right.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
I was talking to Sir Colin earlier on, and I said, what was it like being beaten with Celtic Swing? He said it was like scoring 99 against Australia in a test match at Lord's and then being bowled middle stump. It's so good to get there, but to be beaten by that little when you're just about there must be quite a wrench. We've got a nice breeze today, which is just keeping the temperature down to about 80 instead of the 90 it almost was yesterday. It was very, very hot. But now, can you work out today's picture puzzle? Here it is. First look at it. Now, can you work out the name of this horse? Now, Paul Hardman is our cartoonist, of course. Now, that horse is running today, and I'll give you a clue. I think it's got a great chance of winning. 0891 991144. That is the picture puzzle number. 0891 991144. And there is a special prize for this, because if you can get this right, we'll give you 2 members' badges for the Vodafone Derby at Epsom on Saturday, the 10th of June. We'll give you £100 spending money. So have a go. We'll announce the winner live on Channel 4 later on. 0891 991144.
Horses and children, it's been rumoured as a family day out, and I remember 50 years ago, it's actually this August, I can't remember VE Day, but I can remember VJ Day, and I remember being on my father's shoulder in Hyde Park, and I hope those kids will remember this day, and indeed this weekend, because Newmarket too has its memorials, and as we'll mention later, Newmarket, this very track was actually home of this Rowley Mile of 99 Bomber Squadron, and indeed there's a memorial just outside the course, a memorial of a Wellington propeller which came off a Wellington which crashed in December the 30th, 1941, and there's a little plaque there. There's the propeller, and when they were having racing over on the July course, which they did to try and keep purely for entertainment, you could hear the bombers taking off, and plenty of men died for the cause of, you call this the great triviality, but the freedom to enjoy these sights and sounds, trivial or happy though they may be, come for those people who died for us.
No steamers today, no overwhelmingly well-backed horse. So the officers report the credit business was certainly up, way up than it would have been on a normal 1,000 guineas Thursday. But no steamers today, so let's look at the tissue. That's the bookmaker's forecast of how the betting will go in the Pretty Polly. And Germain, the top one, is put in the 5-2 favourite, with Alicia in at 7-2. 4-1 Leah, and Willie Carson's won it 4 times. Watch the Clock's a 5-1 chance, with Alfasela 6-1, and Fanjika put in at 8-1. In the race coming up here, 5-2 favourite. Their early show is Parthian Springs. They go 3-1 Blushing Flame, On the Shoulders 9-2 Wishing, and 8-1 against Arctic Thunder, Marzoom and Tudor Island. And this is the first Sunday racing, of course, with betting. I would like to ask you all for a moment of silence while we all get down, kneel and pray for a winner. Pray, Lord, look after me, Lord. A winner, please, please.
What can you say about that? I tell you what, proof is in the pudding. There's so many people here today, you could hardly move. But you know, it was only a few years ago, we in England, although they've had shopping in shopping in Scotland on Sundays for a few years, it was only a couple of years ago that we were allowed to go shopping on Sundays. Now this is the first Sunday race meeting with betting that's been allowed, and I'm glad to say the two are combined here at Newmarket. Look, Panama hats, you certainly need those today. Some prefer to study the form, but for some others it's art over form. Ah, special wine to commemorate VE Day. I wonder if that is 50-year-old vintage. I doubt it. Yeah, T-shirts. That's the thing to wear today. More hats. And what about these? Fancy a jockey painted in your own colours? Would these be your pick?
The Ladbroke First Sunday Handicap, this is called, coming up now. There are 13 runners because, as you heard, Bayrak is now out, and indeed Willie Carson has switched to Microlight.
Now we've got a bolting horse before this second race. Rainbow Walk has given John Stack a terrible time on the way to the start. The horse nearly jumped a set of running rails at about the 5 furlong marker. John appeared to grab hold of the horse again at about a mile from the grandstands, and then he took off, and he's now overshot the start by at least a furlong, and that's increasing. So number 8, Rainbow Walk, not doing his chances any good at all here. Eventually he'll end up in the next county in Cambridgeshire, and this doesn't help.
Well, I'm not quite sure where he's off to, John Stack and Rainbow Walk, but I think he must have worn himself out early on trying to pull him up, because looks like he's quite enjoying himself going down there along the side of that fence at the moment.
Let's hope Rainbow Walk recovers. Just depends on how much, really. He fought John Stack. If they've actually just run freed, sometimes it's all right, but you have to have a pretty good minus. Whatever chance he had before, it's quite a big minus. As we said, there are 12 runners here. Bayrak's out. Willie Carson switched to Microlight. And here's the full list for the Ladbroke First Sunday Handicap from Graham Good.
And Beecham Hero trades at 16-1, the man of John Reed. Marsoom 10-1, Jason Weaver. Favourite at 5-2, Parthian Springs, ridden by champion jockey Frankie Dettori. Arctic Thunder's 10-1 with Kevin Darley. Wishing 5-1 with Gary Carter. Number 6 is Blushing Flames, 3-1 with Walter Swinburne. Endless Light 12-1, Richard Quinn. 100-1 outsider Rainbow Walk visored. Participation must be endowed for John Stack, who claims a £5 allowance. Highbrook of 50-1 also went very keenly down to the start with Philip Robinson. Tudor Island ranges between 6 and 10-1, trading at 8-1, Mark Rimmer rides. Bid on the side is 33-1, Pat McCabe, claiming a £5 allowance. Bayrak doesn't run. Microlight does, though. That horse is visored and is a 33-1 chance with Willie Carson, who was beaten on our first race favourite. This is the Ladbroke First Sunday Handicap, and it's over 1.5 miles.
Quite a few of these horses open to improvement from last year. Two or three look as though they ought to show improvement from their first run. Endless light on the outside of those three walking towards us. And just bear a thought for those people like these two police officers who've had to be properly turned out throughout today. They've been on duty already for a couple of hours. Really warm afternoon, stuffy. I can't imagine anything worse. I'm sure they'd be far happier to be dressed like most of the race goers, shorts and t-shirts on. But the horse is taking it all in good part. They're a bit of an eye catcher there, but as regards the eye catchers on the course, let's have a look at those. Blushing Flame took Jim's eye in the paddock. Endless Light on the way to the course, and Rainbow Walk, well, let's hope he's been pulled up by John Stack now. Didn't take Graham's eye at all. Parthian Springs down in the ring, and Wishing, who won first time up at Kempton, first run for Reg Akehurst. Well, he's quite an easy to back.
This is the scene here at Newmarket, but over at Salisbury, I can tell you the view from the stands has been described as resembling Brighton Beach on a hot summer's afternoon. It's an incredible crowd they've got at Salisbury, just like here. If you need any further proof, this is a success. Of that, there's no doubt. And we have news of the first race result from Salisbury. Rawley?
Yes, indeed, and they say that the roads are absolutely packed all around Salisbury as well. So Richard Hannon's filly won the first, kept on really well, and the favourite, though, could never really get on terms at all. The result, first number 12, Christmas Kiss, at 8-1. Second number 7, Silver Sting, at 4-1. And third number 1, Dark Menace, at 50-1. The favourite was number 5, Samoa, at 7-4, 15 round.
Frankie Dettori, champion jockey, leading jockey on Parthian Springs, who was in tremendous form and really buckled down to his work, working through his field here at the last meeting.
And it's Children's Choice that's sent into the lead from Barbarius. Achilles heel in the dark jacket on the outside of Arctic Courier. From the back, starting to pick up the green cap, Parthian Springs. The favourite, Frankie Dettori, goes to work now on the wide outside, Sharp Falcon the grey. They've got a furlong and a half to go, and it's Children's Choice in the lead. Here goes Parthian Springs, swooping on the inside. As Sharp Falcon comes strongly on the outer. It's between these three. They're clear of Barbarius in 4. And the top way, Parthian Springs, held up for a late run. Gets that late run. Storms clear Parthian Springs. Parthian Springs wins it. Children's Choice second.
And that's Rainbow Walk, who has gone a long, long way past the start, sensibly being jogged back by John Stack. Presumably the vet will have a look at the horse then, and the starter. I don't know whether they'll allow him to take part. It depends, as Brough told you earlier, just how much he's taken out of himself. But back to that video that we saw, Parthian Springs, John, ultimately a most decisive winner, but he took time to warm up. This is a better race too.
And he also might be suffering a little bit as the last horse we've just seen, Magnificent Devil, in as much as that was a run on fairly firm ground, and he looked for all the world as though he'd appreciate some cut there. Might be worth asking Graham what he thought of him on the way down to the post.
Yes, he didn't move that well, John. Just a little bit pottery. Just a little bit pottery for a 5-2 favourite in a competitive race.
And Parthian Springs has group entries, one in the Yorkshire Cup and one in the Gold Cup at Royal Ascot. They're both over distances a fair bit further than today's 1.5 miles. So if there's a further improvement in him, which clearly his trainer anticipates, it looks like it's going to be over further, and presumably this will be the tester to see whether he's up to those. The race at Newmarket, which you've just seen, was a lot less competitive than this. Several winners in this field. Wishing is one of them. Gary Carter riding this one for Reg Akehurst. This is horse well handicapped on the pick of his efforts for his former trainer, Richard Hannon. Lost his way last year, but revitalised by Reg Akehurst, and he won at Kempton a couple of weeks ago.
quarter of a mile to go, and it's Wishing who's responding to treatment under Gary Carter from Chatham Island. Here comes Wayne County and Shadow Leader on the very wide outside. Backgammon and General Mukhtar, they come past the furlong pole, and on the outside Shadow Leader in the dark blue and yellow. Wishing with the white sleeves from nowhere. Glide Path has found room, but it's Wishing who's stretching his neck out as they race up towards the line. Wishing's going to take it. Wishing tidily from Shadow Leader.
Well, did all of his best work in the closing stages. I thought Wishing, he looked as though he's going to get swallowed up as he turned for home there. Had Endless Light and a bit on the side who reopposed today behind him. But he's a grand little horse, as Jim was telling you earlier, compared on the pick of his form for Richard. He's well handicapped, he was always very well regarded, and then probably just not right last year. And not surprisingly, the horse Rainbow Walk that we saw going faster than a walk onto the way to the post has been withdrawn. Well, Tudor Island's been a grand servant to Clive Britton. He's done plenty of racing over a mile in 6 furlongs, but he's run well on 2 or 3 occasions when he's been tried at shorter trips. Ideally though, a test of stamina is what suits him.
This horse owned and bred by David Seath, and rather like the horse's sire Jupiter Island, he appears to be improving with age. There's no doubt now that Tudor Island's a much better horse than he was 12 months ago. A slight query about him going well here would only be that he's reverting in distance from 1 3/4 to 1.5 miles, and a couple of the others are coming up in distance and improving too. So his task compared to last time is definitely a fair bit stiffer. Second favourite, Blushing Flame, very unlucky at Kempton on his reappearance, hampered by a horse that lost its rider in the early stages and then hampered again by it on the home turn, and a lot of ground to make up, and did so willingly, but the post came just in time for the winner. Special Dawn, who it has to be said didn't do much for the form there. On what's a really warm day, he's hardly turned a hair, this animal.
Yeah, it's a lovely horse. He improved throughout the back end of last season too, and he's one to follow for the year.
Rainbow Walk, 100 to 1 chance at withdrawal, no deductions on any bets under Rule 4. Very solid 5 to 2 Parthian Springs, though 1 or 2 bookmakers are showing 11 to 4 against it, as money comes from Blushing Flame from 7 to 2 into 3 to 1. Now I said we're all praying for a winner today, we're all wishing for one as well, but Wishing I don't think is going to win this out from 4 to 1, 6 to 1 they're showing Wishing, and 10 to 1 bar the 3, bit on the side, back 20 to 1 from 33, bit on the side.
And just about lined up now, Blushing Flame, the last one to go in for this Ladbroke First Sunday handicap. 1.5 miles, and they break away and out in a pretty good line. Highbrook towards the inside in a noseband, slightly slow to stride. Bouncing out well was the recent course winner Tudor Island with Marsoom. Those two going on to dispute it from Arctic Thunder in 3rd place. And then Blushing Flame towards the inside in a blue cap. Out wide is the jolly old favourite Parthian Springs, racing 3 deep at this stage under Frankie Dettori as they prepare to make a right-hand turn, and their only turn here. 1.25 miles left to go, and the leader is Marzoom by a couple of lengths to Tudor Island in 2nd, and then Arctic Thunder towards the outside in the sheepskin noseband. Blushing Flame is locked away towards the inside, then in 4th place from Parthian Springs, and there's our leader Marzoom, who's running along merrily in the lead. 2 lengths to Tudor Island in the pale blue, then in 3rd place and awash with sweat there, Arctic Thunder in the noseband. The inside is Blushing Flame from the favourite Parthian Springs with the green cap. Frankie Dettori with his hands full, Wishing on the inside, then a Microlight in the blue visor, and then a couple of lengths behind those we have Beecham Hero in orange. Behind that one is Highbrook, who was slow to stride. Well down the heath then still, and right out the back at this stage Endless Light, and if you back bid on the side, she's last. They head towards the final 6 furlongs, and it's Marsoom on the inside, but joined now by Arctic Thunder, who's travelling strongly. In 3rd then is Tudor Island. Parthian Springs has them well within his sights in 4th place. A couple of lengths to Blushing Flame behind those. Microlight is improving under Willie Carson. They've got 4.5 furlongs left to go. Marsoom is the hare, the one to the catch, but Arctic Thunder right there. Here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
And travelling powerfully as well, that Arctic Thunder on the outside. Pushed along is Tudor Island. Parthian Springs in the green cap on the extreme right of the picture, but on the front end it's still Marsoom and Jason Weaver. There goes the favourite Frankie Dettori, getting a dream run through on the inside. Endless Light in dark green, Microlights with a run too. Blushing Flame starts to pick up. Highbrook is out the book, back Wishing won't be winning. On the yellow colours on the right, bit on the side starts to go forward. but a lot of ground to make up as they come past the two, and it's Arctic Thunder pressed on the outside by Parthian Springs. Here goes the favourite Parthian Springs into the lead as he races down into the dip, just over 200 metres to go, and Parthian Springs, the champion jockey Frankie Dettori, goes on. Marsoom rallying here from the back. Blushing Flame in red is finishing well. Beecham Hero in orange is finishing with a flourish, but Parthian Springs is going to take it at the post. Parthian Springs is the winner. A photo for second place between Blushing Flame and Beecham Hero, then Marsoom. Then bit on the side, Arctic Thunder, Mike Light and Tudor Island, and Wishing an Endless Light who dropped away, beating one only, and that one was Highbrook. And so the result then of this, the Ladbroke first Sunday handicap, it was over a mile and a half, but the 11-4 favourite Parthian Springs has won in the colours of the Hesmond stud. This one trained here at Newmarket by John Gosden and ridden by Frankie Dettori, our champion jockey, and his 67th winner of the season. Close call for second place between nearest to us, number 6 Blushing Flame, but also in that is the one horse Beecham Hero. So it's Blushing Flame in the blue cap and Beecham Hero in the orange colours. They're the second and third. To this, our favourite Parthian Springs, who's come home completing a hat-trick, and a horse that's certainly going the right way. Despite pottering down to the start, he's come back with a real flourish.
Turned out to be a good race, this, in the end. It looked as though it was going to be dominated by Marsoom and Arctic Thunder, but they'd gone a good clip throughout, and when it got to the last furlong and a half, well, the race suddenly began to change as Parthian Springs and Frankie Dettori came to challenge on the outside. Blushing Flame, if you back that one, well, he was going up and down. Took a long time to get into gear. Looks for all the world like he wants another couple of furlongs at least. And coming through from the back in the sheepskin noseband, one to keep an eye on, bit on the side when there's a little bit more cut in the ground. But Parthian Springs, Jim, he's come through this race nicely.
Yes, so you wondered whether he'd go a second time on the fastest ground, just hanging out as they go down into the dip, but he's got such an odd action, it probably really doesn't suit him ideally. But once they've met the rising ground, he's lengthened well for Frankie Dettori. On the outside in orange, John Reed, just going through the necessary motions on Beecham Hero, not hard on that one first time out, ran a blinder. And remember, Beecham Hero, an seemingly an exposed handicapper against two improving types here, and has run really well under his big weight.
Punter's prayers are answered on the Sabbath. Dettori and Gosden win with the 11-4 favourite Parthian Springs. Very solidly back, though it did touch 3-1 in a couple of places. 11-4, Parthian Springs the favourite. Very, very close for second, as you've seen, between the second favourite Blushing Flame, who was sent off Burlington Bertie 100-30, and the top one Beecham Hero, a 16-1 chance, Beecham Hero. But Parthian Springs really has knocked back the bookmakers, and standing here intact, the crowds are really round the bookmakers, queuing up to draw their money over the 11-4 favourite Parthian Springs. The good Lord is looking down on us today.
Frankie Dettori, his 67th winner of the season. Got cracking and on the all-weather. And I just think those early days of the year, going around Wolverhampton with the wind in your face and getting cold with the rain, seem a long way ago now. Lovely big horse, this.
I was just going to say, he's a nice type, isn't he? And you can quite see that he'll improve again when he gets further. Admittedly, if he runs in one of those group races, the opposition will be far sterner. But he's well worth a step up now. Quite a bonny sort. Nice to see Frankie acknowledging the applause, like a batsman that's just completed a half-century. He realises a big crowd here, many of them his fans.
John Gosden.
He gave that one a big kiss.
I think it's just nice when you get a good horse like this that's got is well mannered. Probably been riding, as I said, around the all-weather tracks for 2 or 3 months on horses half running away. Can't steer them, can't do much with them. Just talking to John Gosden, he's had a good few days here, of course, with presenting and Tamur yesterday.
The dam of this horse was a really good race mare, Princess Patty, and her son is gradually beginning to live up to something like she was. Let's confirm all the details with Rawley.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it was first number 3, Parthian Springs, the 11-4 favourite. Second number 6, Blushing Flame at 100-30. And third number 1, Beecham Hero at 16-1. The non-runners were number 12, Bayrak, who was taken out well before racing, and number 8, Rainbow Walk, who bolted on the way to the start and was withdrawn. 11 round.
Look at this crowd round here. Now we are in the middle of the breeding season, of course, and we do our best to help the breeders, and certainly if there is a fatality amongst the foster mares, the mares or the foals, we try and help. Now we have news as Frankie goes in, smiling as always, and he'll be looking forward to his big race ride later on Moonshell as he goes in to weigh in after riding yet another winner. For the young 22-year-old Italian, he was just inched out of it last year on Balanchine, but he rides Moonshell, another raider from Dubai this afternoon. Now we have news of a foster mare required. Foster mare required, if you can help, in Market Drayton, Shropshire, and the number is 01630 647 197. Now I know we get a lot of letters from stud people saying thank you, they can make them, and a foster mare is required for a little foal. If you can help, take this number down, 01630 647 197.
And that's a service to the stud industry, a service to the training industry, perhaps. One particular trainer, Dancing Brave's trainer, Guy Harwood, 1986 was Dancing Brave, and I must say, did yesterday's 2,000 guineas measure up to that brilliance? I rather think not. I think the measurement of greatness, they've still got to quite get to it. Great race though, splendid race though it was yesterday. Anyway, Guy Harwood has got a particularly painful problem. His favourite gun dog, Bella, a Labrador, black Labrador bitch, went missing at Coomlands, that's near Pulborough, a week ago. She's very well trained, as the best gun dogs all are. She's an extremely nice person, and she comes to the name Bella, so for any reason you see her confused, I can remember losing a dog myself, confused a bit, call for Bella and call Guy Harwood at Coomlands Stables at Pulborough, because it's a horrible moment to think that she's been away for a week now, and she might easily have got caught somewhere, and maybe if she gets thinner, she might get away. Anyway, there's a big, substantial reward too, so if anyone's got into it for the wrong reasons, you actually can make some money by getting off your own hook. News from the last.
Yes, it's the tote returns, Brough. Win number 3, £3.20. Places number 3, 160. Number 6, 150. And number 1, £4.70. The dual forecast, also £4.70. The CSF, £11.47. The tricast paid £109.25. The non-runners again 8, which was Rainbow Walk, and 12 Bayrak, 11 round.
And it was a very close call for second place on the blue cap Blushing Flame, the colours of the Cheveley Park stud, represented in our Madigan's 1,000 guineas. But nearest to us, Beecham Hero, John Reed in the orange jacket, and just a couple of inches separating second and third, and the difference in prize money is some £3,000.
Well, in this Pretty Polly Stakes, 6 favourites have won it in 22 runnings, so not a very good race for favourites up till now. And the early show was top of the head, 9-4, puts in Germain a 9-4 chance. I'll go down your car with the other ones. 12-1 twice, Nettenbeiss twice, that's Circa and Musetta. 7-2 against Alicia, 6-1 Alpha Sailor, 8-1 Fangica. 5-1 against Lear, that's Carson's horse, and 6-1 Watch the Clock. And the interesting horse, possibly Lear, Willie Carson's mount, he's won the race 4 times, and one of the times he won it was way back in 1977. Jubilee year, no prize for guessing the filly won it. He won it on Dunfermline, and of course she went on to win the Oaks, and then the only horse to beat Alleged when she beat up Alleged and upset him in the St Leger. So Carson likes this race 4 times, including Dunfermline, a 5-1 chance Lear, but top of the head, 9-4, they're showing the top one here. mare, that Germain.
I tell you what, the sun does now bring out some very interesting attires. I think we've seen everything. Yeah, well, that's nice. Parasols, a couple of parasols, and you do need them, I tell you. Yes, isn't that Channel 4? Look, we're on telly. Yes, I think it is. Hello, how are you? Meanwhile, down at the start, or down on the running rails, you can relax and go down the start. And the beauty of these great training centre here at Newmarket is you can walk the dog, you can go and have a walk. There's 250 miles of gallops. And as long as you keep the dogs on leads, obviously with horses going around, it's a marvellous place to walk, to run, or even ride your bike. I saw Sheikh Mohammed on his mountain bike, biking round the gallops here, just 2 hours after leading in the winner of the 2,000 guineas. Now, the first two meetings on Sunday are here at Newmarket and Salisbury, and I wish I owned that fairground. They must be doing a roaring trade today. And there are 22 more Sunday meetings coming up in 1995. Here they are. If you want to take a note, May the 21st, Newbury and Ripon, and this is good because we try and cover the whole country. On June the 11th, now that's a special day because that is the final day of the Derby meeting. We'll be there live Channel 4, and Uttoxeter in the Midlands. July the 2nd, Doncaster will be there, Channel 4, and Chepstow in Wales. Then July 16th, Scotland, they have the first one, and Yarmouth on the east coast of England. July the 30th, Chester and Lingfield. By the way, we'll be at Chester next week for the May meeting. Then August, middle of August, Kempton and Pontefract. Note they're spread all over the country. 27th, Goodwood and Redcar. 24th, Ascot and Hamilton in Scotland. October the 1st, let's hope it's sunny at Brighton and Haydock. Then Wetherby and Wincanton towards the end of October. And right through to November, jumping at Cheltenham and Fontwell. These are the Sunday meetings coming up this year.
A man used to Sunday work, because in Italy they always race on Sundays, don't they, Frankie Dettori?
That's right. It's great, you know. Great to have the first classic on a Sunday. And, I mean, all the major sports have the best days on the Sunday, so why not have our best racing days on the Sunday? I think it's good. It's going to attract the crowds, and look at the weather, look at the people here today, all having a good time.
And in a way, it's bringing you back to England, because jockeys like yourself have spent your Sundays on the continent for the last few years.
Yes, that's right. I don't know what's going to happen later on in the year when the big races abroad going to clash with our Sundays, but I'm sure it's going to work out pretty well. But you know, it was something that was going to come sooner or later, and I think everybody's all for it.
And the big crowd watching on the television, you're going well on Parthian Springs. What about Circa coming up?
Well, I don't know much about Circa. She won heavy ground last year. Today is very fast. But, you know, we're awful. There's a couple of good, nice fillies in the race.
And then you go on to what's a really fascinating ride, even for you, Moonshell, who's been prepared in the desert. You've even flown out to the desert to ride her in Dubai.
Yes, I went to Dubai to ride her work. She's in great form. I mean, you know, let's not forget she's only won a maiden, so today's going to be a big step for her. But we're very hopeful. The filly looks fantastic, and I think she's gonna run a good race. Then if she's going to win or not, I don't know about that, but I think she's going to run a good race.
When she won the maiden race, which we'll be looking at on the screen in a second, I mean, compared to here in a classic, it's a very different sort of deal at Doncaster.
Yes, she won a mile maiden at Doncaster. The ground was a little bit easy. Today's very fast, but I mean, the filly, she's done great in Dubai. You know, with the heat and the climate out there, she's done great. She's really put some muscle on, and she looks good. And you know, with our other work, she gives a filly the feeling of a top-class quality mare, and I think she's going to do good.
The feeling last year, I mean, I know it was only maiden. Was that the feeling then that this is something more than just you run lots of maiden?
Very different, because Balanchine, she's a bit of a madam. She's never worked great. She just worked enough to keep everybody pleased. But this filly, she's a true pro. She always works good, and you know, she gives what she's got, and very different. But Balanchine, she's a different character. She keeps always something to herself.
And Frankie, the measurement of going to Dubai and working on the sand round a bend compared to the straight rolling mile, how can you actually measure that? What do you do? They time it a lot there. How does that work?
Yes, well, we time our works. We have some good pacemakers out there, and I mean, there's some good horses in Dubai.
Sure.
So, I mean, we got a fair line with those.
You have got a line. People still saying, oh, well, how could they possibly know?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got, and like, you know, the team we got in Dubai, they're not stupid. They know what they're doing. But like I said, we all really hopeful, and I think she's going to run a good race.
And after that, she's actually entered in the Derby.
Yes, well, let's run today first, and then we'll talk about later.
Frankie, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we've got news coming in of how successful Sunday racing is in the betting shops. Remember, the betting shops are open today, over 9,000 betting shops around the country. We sent one of our men to Cambridge, 15 miles down the road, and he visited 3 shops. First one he went in at 1:30, he said it was empty, but that was a bit early, and also with the weather and all that, and it is the first time. Then he went to another one half an hour later at 2 o'clock. Empty, but they said they had been busy with punters backing early and then going away to watch it with us on Channel 4, and then went into one in Cherry Hinton Road in Cambridge at 2:15. There were 5 punters in, but the manager said they had been more busy than a weekday earlier on, but not as busy as a Saturday. So early indications are that not as busy as perhaps people would have hoped in the betting shops, and it just makes you wonder if the lottery that a lot of people are going for now, these scratch cards, is taking more money out of racing. I think that story is going to run and run. Now, VE Day, 50 years ago. I know for many of you, you will have very special memories, but for one man in racing, he remembers it, well, I think almost like yesterday, because he is the young man who led in the winner of the 1,000 Guineas winner, a horse called Sunstream, on VE Day in 1945. And I'm glad to say he's with me now. He's the former trainer, just retired, Jerry Blum. Jerry, is that right? Do you remember it almost like this?
Very well, yes. Well, it was obvious that the 8th of May, which was 1,000 Guinea Day, was going to be VE Day. And in fact, the night before, people were dancing in Newmarket High Street, the flags were out. It was a celebration that was already beginning to get going.
How old were you at this time? You were what, 20?
About 20.
About 20, yeah.
Then in the morning of the race, which was officially declared VE Day, we used to ride our horses up in the morning as part of their exercise before they ran, because, as you know, petrol was rationed. And on the way up, you could already see the crowds walking up to the course, biking up to the course, the army lorries and jeeps full of soldiers and officers wanting to go racing, and in order to celebrate. There was no security in those days, so once we let the horses down,
when you put them in the
stables,
yeah,
and fed them,
yeah,
people came, I mean, all the uniforms, you name them, they were there looking at the horses. And this particular filly was, in fact, favourite. And we, you know, we told all the troops she was sure to win. And, in fact, we won the previous race as well. So they had double celebrations. They had a good day at the races, plus Victory in Europe Day.
It was a marvellous day.
A marvellous day.
I know you've been telling me over and over that it's very special, and Sunstream was a... Here she is, and that's you, is it, leading the horse in?
Yes.
Yeah?
And the funny thing is, a gentleman with a trilby, yeah, he was what we used to call a spiv, used to get in, try to get in all the photographs, and we'd arranged to cut him out, and we're just about to do it as a photograph was taken.
Oh, lovely. And the guy on board was?
Mr. Harayir, the late Harry Ragg.
I've got to ask you, what did the jockeys do in the war? I mean,
well, they were stationed, they went in the Army of the Air Force, but they were stationed all around the coast here, and then obviously there were a lot of officers interested in racing, and they used to get time off and use their leave to come and ride work and also get time off. We used to race once a fortnight, so they'd get time off to come racing. And as you appreciate, it was an entertainment for the troops. I mean, you name it, and they were here, all nationalities that were stationed around here.
We've got some shots of what racing was like during the war, and you were telling me the race sort of once every 2 weeks, and the queues were a bit similar to today, Jerry.
Unbelievable.
Look at that.
Yes, unbelievable. And as I said, people used to come up on their bikes, horse and cart, and you see the odd army vehicle full of soldiers, you know, coming from their bases.
This is from 1945, and war veterans, and we have those here today. Soldiers with Americans, weren't
yes.
they? We still got
There's
the
late King
and
Queen.
Queen Mum, of course, who is playing such an important part in these VE celebrations. And I suppose looking at that, it does bring back
certainly
happy memories.
It does.
Yeah. And how much has it changed? Has it changed for the better? Changed for the worse?
God, that's a difficult question to answer. I mean, the actual course, this course has changed, whereas the July course hasn't. And in fact, I showed it to Captain Lee's a photograph. The #1 plaque first, which is made out of wood, is exactly the same as it was 50 years ago when I let in the winner of the 1,000 guineas.
Very special memories. Jerry Blum, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, one day she will know and read about it, and the old line of "lest we forget" is, I think, extremely important this afternoon. It's wonderful to be celebrating the freedom to have proper Sunday racing with betting here, but all of that is absolutely useless without the sacrifice which ended 50 years ago. And remember, all the celebrations, it was a sacrifice of many thousands of lives throughout Europe. And we are celebrating with the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes next. 3 Oaks candidates amongst 8 runners. They're over 1.25 miles, straight up the Rowley Mile, on after the break.
Some years ago, to prove that nothing weathers better than Santex masonry paint, we took one lighthouse and painted it with Santex, and one lighthouse keeper, who we didn't. 'So there's the proof. For longer-lasting good looks, use Santex.
A tornado is a rapidly rotating column of air in contact with the ground. It comes from thunderstorms. Drop probes into the paths of tornadoes, trying to get an idea of what kind of force is contained within these vortices. Maneuverability is very important. In split-second situations, there's very little margin for error.
Who has a standard life?
I don't, but I'm saving for a rainy day.
When it comes to money, I keep my feet firmly on the ground.
There's nothing standard about my life, so I need something solid behind me.
We set our own standards. We always aim for a great performance.
We've got a wonderful life. For pensions, savings, life assurance, personal equity plans and health insurance, you can rely on Standard Life. British Airways. We cover the world.
Le Carré, the supreme storyteller. His new masterpiece, Our Game, out now.
4 cans of Indiana Gold are £2.99 at Sainsbury's.
Where are you going, son?
I'm off to that place called Sainsbury.
Where?
Facile de vous aimer, de passer toute sa vie à vos pieds.
Our 3 luxury cruise ferries from Portsmouth to France are like 5-star hotels. The only difference is you only stay one night. P&O European Ferries, Britain's #1 ferry company.
The runners coming towards the 1.25-mile start for the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes on Oaks trial. 3 of these are in the Oaks. There's a Mercedia, Alicia and Lyre. Here with the full list is Graham Good.
And the favourite is Germain at 3-1. Michael Fenton rides. The stalls for this race position on the stand side. Circa is 14-1 chance with Frankie Dettori. Musetta 14-1 with Brett Doyle. That looks big. Alessia at 9-2 is ridden by Michael Hills. Alpha Sealer is partnered by Mick Kinane at 8-1. Fanjika 12-1 for Richard Quinn. Lyre 6-1 with Willie Carson. Watch the Clock 92 with Jason Weaver. And the runners are down at the start. The distance of this race is 1.25 miles, and it's a straight 1.25 miles to boot.
The eye catchers here in the paddock. It was Circa who John Frankham fancied most, if I can use the word carefully. On the course, Watch the Clock was the one that was noticeable going down. No real buzz for anything in the ring on the positive side, but on the negative, the McCrick nostrils have smelt out Germain as not tasting too good at the moment.
Well, a negative from Germain in the ring, and I must say, if you were going around the paddock, she's not negative in terms of her physical well-being, but as a specimen, well, she looks as though she could do with a good feed. She's just made that way. She's leggy and sparely made, but there's no doubt she can run a bit. She was 4th in the Nell Gwyn Stakes, 5 lengths behind myself, and after that Michael Bell and his team decided to aim her more on an Oaks campaign, so she takes in the Pretty Polly Stakes with that in mind.
Yeah, she's incredibly game, Germain. Unusual colouring for anybody who's come racing or goes to have a look at her. It's like a conker with lots of lighter streaks running vertically. Let's have a look at Alessia. Didn't look anywhere near as well in her coat. Look as though that she'd improve, and she only had 3 runs last year, this filly. She's by Carry-On. She wound up winning here and put in a gutsy performance to just hold on from Jumeirah. That was back in October. That was her 3rd run, and she's got plenty of size and scope for improvement.
Willie Carson's mount, Lilia, will be going in with the typical Monty Roberts sequence of a rope halter and a blanket. She's a little bit of a character. She's an attractive filly, this, by Shirley Heights, out of a good mare called Linguinant by Persian Bold. Looked a bit of a stayer at 2. Overall, I thought just maybe unfair to say her final run was disappointing, because it was in a Group 3 event. She'd been running in maidens, but she's shown potential in maidens, and I thought she might actually run better than was the case in Ireland. This is her first attempt on a fast surface. Going in with a noseband, Watch the Clock. This filly, who was 3rd to Joral in a listed race at Newmarket. Perhaps the most interesting one is already installed. That's number 6, Fanjika. She's already run 2nd to the Italian Guineas winner Olympia Dukakis. So she's a good runner in her own right. Here's a good caller in his own right.
Thank you, Jim. And away they jump for the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. Or rather Musetta right there towards the near side, with Circa pulling hard in the green cap towards the outside, refusing to settle. Germain settling in 2nd place in the red jacket with red and white hoop sleeves. They're crawling along at the moment, barely 31 miles per hour, and it's Musetta that's setting this slow gallop to Circa in 2nd on the outside, then of Alpha Sealer and Germain in the red and white. Lyre towards the outside then from Watch the Clock in a noseband as we close in on Brett Brett Doyle on Musetta. He rides Autumn Fair, Brett, in the Madigan's 1,000 guineas in half an hour's time. Circa is second, Germain in third, then Alpha Sealer and Lyre the outside. And they're followed behind those by Watch the Clock, and towards the rear at this stage, Fanjika, and Alessia is wagging the tail. Approaching the final 6 furlongs, the leader, Musetta there in the black sleeve jacket from Circa in second. Germain towards the near side, nicely tucked away. Lyre out wide in a red cap, followed by Alpha Sealer. The pace has quickened to 35. Then the near side, Watch the Clock from Fanjika, and still Alessia towards the rear. They've got about 5 furlongs to go now, and Musetta's never been out of the pole position still, by 2 lengths to on the outside Circa. Germain waiting to pounce. 4 furlongs to go. Here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
A very slow early pacing, could be a rush at the end. Musetta still just has the edge. Star sleeve jacket Circa going after Frankie Dettori in second place, pushing that one along now. Germain, the favourite with the hoop sleeves, runs next to the rails. Lear on the outside, the red cap, yellow colours. Alpha Sealer, red with the blue cap. Watch the Clock is going to be looking for room as they come down to the 2 furlong point. And it's Musetta that still has the edge. Circa, Watch the Clock the outside. Alpha Sealer, Lear behind these. Fanjika in yellow is coming there strongly, 3 from the left. But it's still Musetta and Brett Doyle who have the edge. They've got a furlong to go, and it's Musetta with the lead. Here goes Fanjika in the yellow colours down the centre of the track that all had racing in Italy last year on soft ground. Musetta still has it, but Fanjika is really flying. Musetta and Fanjika battle up towards the line. Musetta, Fanjika 1 and 2. Lear is third, and then came Watch the Clock in front of Alicia, and the field trail back to Circa, who was last of all. And so the result then of this, the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. It's a win for number 3, Musetta, in the colours of Mr. B.H. Vogue, trained here at Newmarket by Clive Britton, ridden by Brett Doyle. This horse has an entry in the Oaks, 14 to 1 she started at today in this Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes. Second horse home is number 6, Fanjika, ridden by Richard Quinn, and the third horse home was number 7, Lear, partnered by Willie Carson. So, if 3 is your favourite number, well, 3 have won the first 3 races, because here's the third, number 3, Musetta. Made all the running over this 1.25 mile trip, really quickened the game with 2 furlongs to go. They tried to come and take her, but they couldn't get past her, this Musetta. Well, she's won.
Well, John Frankham said to me after about 100 yards, this won't get headed, because he thought it might be a tactical affair, and you really thought that the winner was enjoying herself in front.
Well, she was lobbing along. She had plenty of ability as a 2-year-old, and she looked as though she'd grown into herself, and they really allowed her to go along. She was enjoying herself, which I think was the most important thing. She had first run as they got up the hill. I thought the eventual second, Fanjika, she's done well to get as close to her as she did. Probably the unlucky one, didn't have much of a split, was Alessia, Barry Hill's runner. That one will improve for the run. But Musetta continuing the good form of Clive Britton's runners. She's won well, and she'll get further. Jockey's Freddie Head just waiting to get the all clear, weighing out for the 1,000 guineas in front of Brian Rouse and Willie Ryan.
And in the background, Richard Hughes. Swinburne just coming along in colours that he'll be wearing belonging to the owners of Gay Galante. It's quite interesting, John, how a bit of responsibility almost, I don't mean this rudely, it improves people. Brett Doyle was doing quite nicely as a rider, but he and Mark Rimmer have had increased opportunities because of Michael Roberts' decision to ride in Japan. And Brett rode a lovely race on that, didn't he?
Did nothing wrong at all. And the other thing is that these boys are riding the horses out most mornings. They get to know them, and I just think you feel a little bit more part of the team. And getting the opportunities, deservedly so. And of course, the whole thing's right. Clive Britton's horses probably not firing on all cylinders last year, but there's no doubt that they are this term.
And I've got hugely disappointing news for so many of us. The news that now Celtic Swing, the runner-up in the Madigan's 2,000 guineas, misses the Vodafone Derby. That is the latest news. Owner Peter Saville is quoted as saying that he prefers to take on the French if he has to on better ground and on a flatter course than at Epsom. So the news just in, owner Peter Saville has confirmed that Celtic Swing will miss the Vodafone Derby. That means all the anti-post bets down the winter, they've all been lost, and it now looks as though penny count will be an odds-on chance. The bookmakers will now go odds-on penny count for the Vodafone Derby. Celtic Swing out of it. Betting, of course, far lighter on this pretty Polly. And the only significant market move was the opposition to Germain, and the winner, Musetta, was the complete outsider of the 8 runners. 14 to 1 Musetta. It was the longest price of the whole lot. The runner-up Fanjika at 12 to 1, 6 to 1 against Lear. They sent Germain off, the 11 to 4 favourite, but all that pales into such disappointment that when it goes round the racecourse, round the country, so looking forward to the Vodafone Derby, the renewed clash of Celtic Swing and Pennycamp will not now take place. Celtic Swing misses the Derby.
Well, that's really disappointing news, of course, but in a way, having watched Celtic Swing yesterday, he didn't look anything like the horse he did at 2 on a soft surface. Mac has got wide views about how some assessors viewed his performance, but it's fair to say that when he was wonderfully impressive, it was on a soft surface, and you probably saw yourself, if you follow racing at all, that when he was racing down into the dip, he didn't really stretch out on the firm ground, and it's far more accentuated at Epsom, the requirement to do that, than it is here. You can call it a flaw in the horse's makeup if you like, but it seems to make sense in view of that to go to France, where there's every chance he might get an easier surface. Anyway, this filly, trained by Clive Britton, is a daughter of Caddo Genera, who was a brilliant sprinter, who cracked the track record on the July Cup, on July Cup Day, about 2 miles away from here, trained by the late Alex Scott. And the dam, Harayir, by Sharif Dancer, not as we've got there. The dam, sire of the dam also of Harayir, one of the favourites in the 1000. Well, you've got a sneak preview of the SP, but those of you who had a bet, you want to see it confirmed in detail and at length. Here's Rawls.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, here it is in detail. First, number 3, Musetta, 14 to 1. Second, number 6, Fanjika at 12 to 1. And third, number 7, Lear at 16 to 1. The unsuccessful favourite, number 1, Germain at 11 to 4. The tote returns, win number 3, £21.80. Places 3, £3.10. 6, £2.40. And number 7, £2 exactly. The dual forecast, £38.40, 8 round. And 6 to 1, we just confirmed that change there. 6 to 1 it was for number 7, Lear.
I'm always urging you to join the Channel 4 Punters Club. The great advantages you have, you send £6 in for membership, you get a £5 back straight away in tote vouchers, plenty of other benefits, and one of them is the competitions you can go in. And here we've got a couple of winners of a recent Channel 4 Punters Club competition. So, Christine Ramsdale, what was the question that they asked you that was so hard for you to answer?
Well,
Tell us.
Really think about it. As far as I can remember, it was, who's the Lord of Channel 4 racing?
Well, the Lord of... So, Bob, you were able to answer that?
Yes, Lord Oaksey, no problem.
I see, of course. We have a lot of problems with Lord Oaksey. There was no problem with that. What was the reason that you joined the Punters Club?
Well, it was Christine's birthday not too long ago, and I enrolled her as a member.
She was 21 at the time, was she?
Not quite, not quite. 20. And with the benefits, as you say, there's special offers, competitions, Christian Light competitions. We've won.
Are you regular race goers?
No, but we will be. After
because of the Punters Club, that will make you, that's the object, is to make people come racing. What are the advantages? Why will you come racing? Well, because you're a member of the Punters Club.
Well, we've enjoyed this weekend.
But you can't win competitions all the time. They're not such easy questions as that. They'll be asking you, who's the fat arm-waving lunatic on Channel 4?
We've really enjoyed this weekend. Everyone's so friendly. The next race meeting, we'll definitely be going to one of them.
Now, it's Sunday racing today. Have you noticed anything different from the other times you've been racing?
It's more relaxed. There's plenty of people here.
And what the advantages have you found, Sunday racing?
Sunday racing, I don't think there's quite as many people here as yesterday. We came yesterday and this members' enclosure was absolutely jam-packed. Not quite as many members, but on the other side, a lot of newcomers by the looks of things.
Well, we were all on Pennycamp yesterday.
So
now,
was I.
Who are we going to be on for the
1,000
Guineas?
I'm going on the Aquarid.
Ackerid, Carson's horse.
Yeah. I'm going Harayir, and
Harayir.
I like myself as well.
So there's a great fight going on. Willie Carson's had to split and choose. Gone for Ackerid over Harayir. I'll go for the young lady. I'll prefer her choice. She'll do for me. So this is how you can join the Punters Club after backing Harayir. Let's hope it wins. This is how you join the Channel 4 Punters Club. And the membership is, to get your membership, ring 0891 888 003 0891 888 003. And if you live in Era, and I tell hundreds of thousands of you watch us on Channel 4 over in Era, the number is 1550 84403. 1550 84403. Lots of advantages joining the Channel 4 Punters Club, and I even hear you meet that ghastly Steve Smith-Eccles, the pal of the greatest jockey. So that's a disincentive to join the club. And if they join the club, meet Steve and the greatest jockey, all of us. Join the Channel 4 Punters Club and join them here. Harayir and Harayir, a bit of an argument there, but they all agree the Punters Club worth joining.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well done. Good luck, Christine. There you are.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a pillar-to-post victory there for Musetta in the Madigan's Pretty Polly Stakes, given a great ride by Brett Doyle to win one of our feature events of the afternoon. Now it gives us great pleasure to ask Mr. Keith Bond, Commercial Director for Madigan's PLC, to present the trophy to the wife of the winning owner of Musetta, and we congratulate Mrs. Brian Voke. Now, you may have heard just before the race that Musetta had also won the award as the best turned out horse, and that meant a prize of £100 going to her lass, Claire Hallill, who has joined us in the winner's enclosure to receive her prize from Keith Bond. Claire Hallill, ladies and gentlemen.
Just checking the watch, and we're just under half an hour away from the 1,000 guineas, and with me Walter Swinburne, most successful jockey since the war in the 1,000 guineas, with 3 successes. So the nice easy question, what about making it 4 with Gay Galanta this afternoon, Walter?
Well, that would be great. I mean, all I can say is that this filly really didn't give a running last time. And, you know, looking back to her first start last year, we really thought she'd win, and she ran very much the same sort of race, and then went and won the Queen Mary at, you know, at generous odds at 20 to 1.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone, a very respected man in the breeding world, and he said he thinks Gay Galanta did exactly the same last year, and if she improves like she did, she must have a major chance.
Well, I think, as you know, Mr. Stout's quite rightly said, she's come back from Newbury and worked well, so it wouldn't be as, you know, a great shock to us if she went in. So.
How much is the warm weather, the sun, helped the fillies in the past couple of weeks?
Oh, a tremendous amount. I mean, you can really see them, you know, the blossom, the shine on their coats now, and you know, I'm sure each and every one of the trainers would, you know, really appreciated the sun, and there'd be no excuses today.
Now, what about the days? You've been through the form, upside down, inside out. Now, what are the big players today? I mean, Accurate, Willie Carson?
It's the obvious one. I mean, there's no question mark about her. She gets the trip, and she's you can ride a nice handy race on her, and she's tough. She's good and tough.
What about the others? I mean, Moonshell comes over from Dubai with a very tall reputation.
Got it all to do for me.
Do you think so?
Yes, I really do. I mean, she won last year in softish ground. I mean, this is fast ground out here now, and it's a different ball game. And you know, she's been trained, I believe, on the sand in Dubai, and well, Dubai have got a great record. I don't want to be knocking that. I'm not.
No,
but I just think it's tough.
Henry Cecil Saddle's Epigre, and she's been earning rave reviews, while you've been on one side of the live kill, and she's been on the other, and doing it very well.
Yes, I was third in the trial here with Red Carnival, and Epigre ran a fine race, and she looked as if she would come on for that run, and you'd have to respect her.
What about Macumba, who comes over from France? Unbeaten filly, apparently has been working well. Doubt about the trip?
Well, I can't see why the doubt about the trip, because she won the Boussac, which is over a mile, in pretty soft ground. So all I can say is she's trained by Cricket Head, and Cricket knows how to turn them out in this race as well.
She does. How do you see the race going? Are we going to have a fast pace, a slow pace? How do you think it will work out?
I think it'll be a good even pace from the gate, and you know, Willie won't be hanging about. He's on a filly that gets the trip well, and you know, he'll be wanting to take a little bit of the juice out of the others, and that'll be the way it'll be set up anyway.
And do you think it's going to be as close as it was yesterday, or is one filly going to come out and stride home by 3 or 4 lengths? How do you think?
I see this is more open than what people think, and I think there's a good 6 fillies. Any one of 6 or 7 could win.
Right. Walter Swinburne, thank you for taking us through the field, and good luck.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
There's a nice, easy authority when Walter talks of races like the 1,000 Guineas, he doesn't boast about it, but he really does know what he's talking about, and it's a fascinating race coming up. The horses, you can see, not yet in the empty parade ring behind me, but they're in the pre-parade, just getting ready, going to go into those saddling boxes. And worth reminding ourselves, these are 3-year-old fillies, some of them only just onto their third birthday. They've had sometimes only 2 or 3 runs in their life. They're very inexperienced plants, but you're testing them now, and for many of them, it's the most important race in their lives. And it's one of the largest crowds that they're ever likely to face. For many of them, they will never face a larger one because they won't measure up to the possibilities of things like the Oaks, Vodafone Oaks, which is run in 5 weeks' time. That's to look forward to, but we look forward to this, the Madigan's Guineas, after the break.
This is the basic stuff that all cars are made of. But the way the new Honda Civic's been built will make your eyes pop out. This class of car's never seen double wishbone suspension before, or a tough new roll bar reinforcing the rear. The doors meet 1997 US side impact standards already. VTEC is the most economical system in its class, but open her up and there's all the performance you need. All cars are made from this. But in the end, not all are built like this.
Honda, built without compromise.
Introducing relief from mild to moderate arthritic pain at a stroke. Introducing Movalat. Help rub out pain. Rub on Movalat.
Oh, hello. Have you seen it? It's a new 3-in-1 exchange in Mart. Look, the motor section has thousands of cars with a price guide and buying advice too. The business section is packed with ideas and equipment and even tells you which mobile phone service is best for you. Very handy. And in home and leisure, there's everything from security systems to sun lounges. If you don't find what you're after, faster, I'll eat my hat.
Have you heard about the breakthrough in contact lenses?
Contact lenses? Aren't they difficult to look after?
Think again. Now you can try an amazing new lens, one you wear for just 1 day. New 1-day AccuView from Johnson & Johnson. You never clean them. Start every day with a fresh new pair. And each night, just throw them away. Want to know more? Ask your optician about a free 5-day trial. Or call. New 1-day AccuView from Johnson & Johnson. Try them and you'll see.
Just when I need someone to love me, just when I think the world's too cold.
Sheba, delicious pieces of meat, carefully selected and prepared in a way your cat will love.
There you are in my heart, standing by me.
Sheba, the recipe of love.
The first ever Easy Glide Rollerball Antiperspirant from Vaseline is bigger, so a stroke is all it takes.
Would you recommend your motor insurance company to a friend?
Is that what you're paying? You know who you should call. Oh.
Well, each year, hundreds of thousands of people do just that. Direct Line Insurance. We come highly recommended. Call 0181 686 2468.
A glass of the unusual, sir? What is it? The metamorphosis of lager, sir. Enigma draft lager from Guinness. It began as a spark of inspiration in the mind of a genius.
Very smooth. I have to go now. My giraffe is on fire.
The 1,000 Guineas coming up, but with us now, the owner of the 2,000 Guineas, we have to say it, runner-up, Peter Saville. just heard there's a possibility that he'll miss Epsom and go to the French Derby. What's the plan?
No, we still very much want to go to the English Derby, but we feel that the hill at Epsom is not going to be ideal for him. Kevin said that he felt that yesterday, if he lost the race anywhere, it was coming down into the dip. With the ground being a little firm, he didn't really show that surge that he's shown previously. He wasn't really using himself, and he came up to me afterwards and said that he would be very concerned about Epsom on fast ground. I think if the ground was soft or on the easy side of good, I don't think we'd be too worried, and we would very much want to go to the English Derby. There is only one Derby. However, we don't want to give the horse two negatives before he starts, which is coming down a hill at Epsom, which wouldn't ideally suit him, and running on firm ground. So if we think that that's the ground we're going to get, we really do feel that, to be fair to the horse, we've got to look at other possibilities. And the obvious possibilities would be to supplement him for the French Derby and then go to the Irish Derby. We very much do want to take on the winner yesterday again. I think it's great for racing, and we want to do that, but we've got to be fair to the horse, and we've got to do it in conditions, and we'd like to do it in conditions that we feel next time hopefully would favour us a little bit more than maybe they did yesterday.
Peter, what are the logistics about taking decisions on this?
Well, the French Derby is 6 days before the English Derby, so we're probably going to really have to make our minds up at the very latest about 10 days before the English Derby. So that means we've got to keep our eye on the weather, and we've also got to probably take a little bit of a risk, a calculated gamble, if we're going to decide that we're going to go definitely for the English Derby.
So anti-post punters, they must hold their fire?
I think you'd have to say yes. As I say, our intention is to go for the English Derby. That's the race we want to go for, but we have to be fair to everybody and say at this stage that there is a possibility that that may not happen.
And just a final thought. Say the ground was reasonable for the French Derby, looked too firm for England. You went to France, bolted in there. Could you come back and then win the English Derby? Stay there?
I think that would probably be asking too much. I think what we'd like to do then is meet Pennycamp over in Ireland.
It's quite a thought. Thank you. Thanks very much.
So that's the Derby news, but now the scene is set for the first ever Classic on a Sunday, and the jockey's now about to leave the weighing room. He's Freddie Head, and no sooner we said he'll come out than he turns back in. He's representing France. He rides Macomber. Willie Carson going for his 18th Classic on Acca-Rid. Brian Rouse here on the outsider. Queen Fisher. He's Frankie, who rides for the Dubai Big Hope. There's Willie Ryan in the background in the spots, who's hoping to win it on Epicry. Richard Hills is coming for a super ride. And there's the man who rode Celtic Swing at a second place yesterday, Kevin Darley, who rides Bring on the Choir, who's owned by the chairman of the sponsors in this, Bernard Cover. And he tells me this horse will win by 15 lengths. Well, I don't doubt him, but I don't think he'll do that. But good luck to all the participants, owners, trainers, jockeys, stable staff. And here's one that is going to play a very big part, because let's check out the favourite. Number 2, Acca-Rid, unbeaten in 3 races by the great 2,000 guineas winner Nashwan out of a Shea. Now this is the horse that Woody Carson has elected to ride instead of Harayir. Acca-Rid, the winner of the Fred Darling, he chose this one in preference to Harayir, runner-up in the free handicap. He chose Acca-Rid. I asked him why.
Well, I think, I'm hoping it should be the best filly on the day.
Yeah.
They're 2 very nice fillies. Both fillies have done nothing wrong this year. Both have come through their trials very well. They've all got plus marks beside them, and I've had to choose between the 2. So I've chose the one that's unbeaten. She's won a Group 1 race, and hopefully there's a little bit more in the tank.
The press have been saying you've had sleepless nights thinking about this. Have you or not? I don't. I think you sleep pretty well. Yes. The true story is...
Not a wig.
You still sleep as good as ever. Will you be sleeping as well as ever tonight? I mean, you've been here before, you've done it before, but the Guineas...
I'll have a sleepless night if I've chosen the wrong one.
Brief glimpse is out, as you know, so there are 14 runners for this, the 1995 1,000 guineas, the Madigan's 1,000. The first Classic on a Sunday. Here's the list.
And the stalls for this mile race positioned on the stand side, so Epicry is the rail runner, but drawn 7 is all-time great, a 40-to-1 chance with Jason Weaver. Acca-Rid, the 5-to-2 favourite, is drawn wide at 13 with Willie Carson on board. At 33-to-1, Autumn Affair comes from the 9 stall with Brett Doyle having his first Classic ride. Brief Glimpse doesn't run. Bring on the Choir is 150-to-1 for the owners of the sponsors. Kevin Darley is the jockey for Bring on the Choir. Number 6 is Epigre, that's the rail runner then, drawn 1, now down to 7-1 with Willie Ryan. Fleet Hill, a rank outsider at 100-1, is drawn from 12 with Richard Hughes, the partner. Each way chances about Gay Galanta from 11 at 10-1 with Walter Swinburne. Harayir drawn 2 is a 4-1 chance with Richard Hills, with Richard wearing a black distinguishing cap. Home Magic drawn 15 is a 16-1 chance with Michael Hills. Number 11 is the French raider Macumba, 7-1 with Freddie Head from stall 10. At 200-1, Mina's Gold is from stall 5 with Richard Quinn. Moonshell is drawn 6 and she is a 6-1 chance. Frankie Dettori rides. Myself comes from 14 stall, drawn 8, an 8-1 chance with John Reed. And Queen Fisher is drawn 3, and that's 100-1 with Brian Rouse. That's the lineup then for this Madigan's 1,000 guineas.
It's quite funny, John Frankham and I standing here talking about horses that come from Dubai because so much sunny and everything else. In fact, Moonshell has come from Dubai. It's the same weather she had out there, I think.
Well, I mean, it's been lucky 2 years running the horses that have come over, because if they came over, you know, normal spring weather when it's a little bit wet and windy, I'm sure it would have an adverse effect, but she looks wonderful, Moonshell. Really is just a little bit more forward in her coat than anything else, and taking proceedings incredibly well. It's hard to believe that she's a 3-year-old.
Let's go through the horses' sort of betting order. Ackerid, Willie's ride.
Well,
you saw those trials. Do you think she looked up to his choice?
Well, he won't be disappointed when he looks at these two walking around at Paddock, because Ackerid's definitely got the edge over Harayir. She's come to herself much more. Harayir still looks as though she could do with a little bit more time probably on her back. Her coach still hasn't come, but this filly here, Ackerid, big, tall, rangy. There's a lot of fillies walking around here that strike you as, you know, middle distance runners, and she'd definitely fall into that category.
And Harayir was interesting when she went a blinder in the free handicap. The dividend didn't pay any compliments yesterday. She didn't, though, look. That was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? That forward at all in her coat. And
No,
it's not.
She's
today.
forward. She's a little bit more forward, but I think she still looks 6 weeks away from reaching her peak. But she's a strong filly. I mean, if you take on face value the fact that she didn't look well, she ran a smashing race here first time up, without looking well. So I wouldn't let that put you off too much. But I mean, I'm here trying to point you in the right direction. And when it comes to just physical appearance, then you'd give the nod to Ackerid.
And this filly Moonshell, that's interesting. I talked to Simon Christopher before. I mean, they've been working her. They've only worked her on left-handed round the sand, quite deep sand. But on the clock, she's put up a couple of very good trials. They had a very good trial Craven Stakes week.
I mean, she's obviously useful. She's just might just lack a little bit of experience. Just has the one run. She's got to cope with a lot more runners this afternoon. She's got to come downhill. But you know, she's had the benefit of being training out in the sunshine. She's been, you know, as you said, she's done plenty of work, and she's had the advantage of probably never been held up once throughout the winter.
Epigre, of course, has wintered here with Henry Cecil's team. And
well,
I mean, to have progressed a lot since.
Well, I think that the this now Gwyn form is going to be held up. I can just see myself and Epigre coming home first two here, because they look much stronger individuals. They look much more like milers than some of these others, and certainly Epigre, you know, with the benefit of that run, she's a much bigger filly than myself, a couple of inches bigger, I'd say. Strong filly. If she relaxes, then I'm sure she's going to run a really big race.
Now Macumba, the French filly, we saw come from an absolutely impossible position in her trial. I haven't seen her this season.
No, she strikes you more of a filly that's going to get a mile plus. She's not lightly made, but she's not got the power anywhere near of Epigre or myself. And again, she'll be running downhill for the first time. The ground's going to be faster than she's been used to. So you know, it'll be speaking volumes for Cricket Head if she can work the oracle with this one.
And myself, so she's not very tall, but just looking at her now, she's very powerful across.
Yeah, she struck me as being quite long when she ran here in the Nell Gwyn. She seems to have made up and sort of strengthened up since then. And as you know, we've got 2 or 3 fillies in this race that have won over 5 furlongs. You've got the likes of Home Magic and Gay Galanta, but this one looks a real strong individual. She's definitely done well since her last run.
We talked to Walter Swinburne before about Gay Galanta. And of course, that team do know about the 1,000 guineas. She's got a bit to make up, but they're quite hopeful.
Well, she's a ridiculously long price for what she's done. You know, she's won a Queen Mary. She came here and won the Cheveley Park, and looked for all the world as though a mile was going to suit her. God, she never got going till the last sort of half a furlong. And I suppose you could say she was slightly disappointing for her first run at Newbury. But considering that, you know, you think that she's going to want every bit of this mile, and she looks as though she's improved since then.
They're all beginning to file through, John. If you had to pick one, just again, as you say, looking at them here rather than going through the book, what would you say? What's the Paddock pick?
Myself just gets the nod in front of Evergrey.
Myself to beat Evergrey. Uphold the form.
Oh, what a lovely job to go and, if you like horses, to go and assess fillies of this quality on a day like today. Just a little bit more breeze than yesterday, and that's prevented the fillies perhaps becoming as warm as some of the colts did. It's a really fascinating race, as Walter Swinburne told you. Any one of half a dozen you could make a strong case out for. It looks quite an open betting. Here's Rawley with the full details.
Yes, Jim, and Carrid, for so long at 5-2, has eased out very marginally to 11-4. Harayir, now a point easier, falls to 5-1. Support, though, for Moonshell in half a point from 6s to 11-2. Firm at 7s, both Epigris and Macumba. Then it's 8-1 myself. At 10s, Gay Galanta. Home Magic is at 16-1, and all-time great at 40s. Then Autumn Affair at 50-1. And the outsiders, Fleet Hill at 100-1. Queenfisher and Bring on the Choir are both at 150-1. And the complete outsider, well, that's Mina's Gold at 200-1.
Well, this race for 3-year-old fillies, run over a mile. First run in 1814. Winning jockey then, W. Clift, the same gentleman that took the first running of the 2,000 guineas in 1809. A race that those involved with the animals you see filing through have worked towards, dreamt about, maybe even anticipated winning for the last 6 months or so. Some of them are beautifully bred, some of them are surprise packages, so to speak. But in about 5 minutes' time, all the talking stops as they file out for the Madigan's 1000. Similar colours, a couple of them have, all-time great black-white spots, but a distinguishing white cap, the colours of Helena Springfield, the jockey Jason Weaver. Acklereed, Willie Carson, the cap is the distinguishing feature there, blue striped cap, as opposed to one with similar colours which has a black cap. Pale blue and black and white, the colours of Mr. Ray Richards, the jockey Brett Doyle, the horse Autumn Affair. Yesterday's parade had its difficulties. In the old days, well, I say old days, only 3 or 4 years ago it was changed. The horses used to have to come out onto the track, file down, virtually nose to tail for about a furlong or so. There are detractors of that system, particularly those involved with the animals. Some get very stirred up, and it was felt it was better to let them go down at intervals. But whatever you think of the old parade system, led out by 2 very impressive chargers, this system seems to detract from the atmosphere of building up to a major event itself. Kevin Darley going through on Bring on the Choir. He'll be followed by Willie Ryan on Epigris, black-white spots, but a black cap. Filly certainly getting a little bit worked up through the preliminaries. Fleet Hill, black and gold stripes, gold sleeves, red cap. Richard Hughes riding from Mike Shannon. And Walter Swinburne, red, white sash, Gay Galanta. So that's the next group to go out, and a group of 4 still awaiting. So let's go with those moving down. John, you were deeply impressed with Acklereed in the paddock. What about her moving?
Well, she's a very easy action filly, and what you've got to like about her is that she's managed to win on soft surface and on a faster surface. Very easy filly to ride, very amenable. and going down and just a nice contact on the mouth. You can see Willie Carson. What a pleasure to ride she must be.
I was going to say, she looks really willing, John.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we tend to forget. I mean, this is only a 3-year-old filly. I mean, she's only had 3 runs in her life. Here she is out in the middle. There's a band playing right next to the paddock. There's a huge crowd, and she and, in fact, the rest of these fillies all behaving impeccably.
Oh, Magic going through. French challenger Macumba, white dark blue cap. Harayir leading the trio. Oh, Magic is second, Macumba third. If you're wondering at home why we're making a fuss about the way the fillies are behaving, it's quite simple. If the animal gets too stirred up beforehand, well, there's every chance that come the race, she's in a state she won't do herself justice. Richard Hill's, for all the world, looking like a foreign jockey with those dark goggles, almost like sunglasses.
Been having a very good time, champion jockey in Dubai throughout the winter. Richard Hill's, and now got a very useful spear ride on Harayir.
A couple of weeks ago, we saw this filly come right back into the betting after a fine run in the free handicap. Willie Carson, who was in the saddle on that occasion, eased her to the front, running down into the dip. The winner is over on the right under Michael Kinnan. And of course, people have immediately said that Diffident didn't do the form any favours yesterday. That's true, but Silka Blanca, who was also in this race, ran respectably. So too did Citadine, who was just behind the first two here. He certainly wasn't disgraced in the Kentucky Derby last night. And the one that was second last finished second in the first classic trial next time. Harayir with a short, quick action, more associated with that of a sprinter, John.
Yeah, shouldn't she be a popular winner here? Major Dick Hurn has not had a lean spell the last few years, but certainly probably just suffered a slight decline. Very much respected, the Major. And this filly's put in some really good performances. Getting some very good pictures of these fillies on the way down to the post for sit-at-home punters, able to pick your selection out, see how they move, see how they're behaving. And having seen these two go down, Harayir and Harayir, then you can appreciate the dilemma that Willie Carson has been in for the last couple of weeks, trying to choose between them. Not an easy task.
As Moonshell, totally different type of action. Short, striding action. She's a much longer filly. She too looks alert, and if anything, John, and it would be a surprise if she wasn't, given what you were saying to Brough earlier, a little bit green. She's looking at everything, isn't she?
Yeah, she's got a very honest head, though. I should imagine that once Frankie gets hold of this filly and gets her racing, then she'll be putting her best foot forward. Very genuine.
Just looking at her there, when they come into the dip, does she strike you as the sort of filly that... Sorry, does she strike you as having the sort of action that is going to be in trouble, though?
Well, I think that provided she can hold a position down into the dip and remain close enough, providing she lets herself down, as you can see, she's nowhere near such an easy action filly as Harayir, or in fact Harayir. But having said that, she's not as impressive as a mover, but she seems perfectly happy. And these pictures going out live to Dubai, so I dare say that they're watching with interest, and this is a filly who they'll all be familiar with. A lot of expats working out there in stables, riding work.
A lot of us thought Red Run would be the only horse we'd heard of that was trained on the sand, but that's all changed now.
Certainly has.
Well, you give marks out of 10. You giving marks out of 10 to fillies and getting paid for it. Come on, how have you arrived at this?
Well, let's have a look at the eye catchers now. It was close for me between myself and Epigris, and I've gone for myself because a combination of the fact that she looks incredibly well in her skin, and she just strikes me more of a miler than some of these others. She also impressed Graham on the way to the post. Mina's Gold didn't, and Macumba down in the ring, wouldn't be a surprise if she was good enough to win. Whatever she does, she's going to improve over a further trip than today. And Harayir, the one that Willie Carson's plumped for, maybe not the flavour of the month, but just a little bit easier to back.
And here she is, Me, Myself, I. Myself from Lady Tavistock's celebrated broodmare, a granddaughter of Mrs. Moss, whose progeny have taken, well, the Tavistock family and the name all over the world, really. This filly, very tough individual. She's got a little bit of a quirk about her, regarded as a quirk, because she flashes her tail. John Reader rode her very sympathetically when she reappeared here just over 2 weeks ago to take the Nell Gwyn Stakes. And John, it was a good turn of speed she showed.
Well, this was, along with Diffident, the two horses that impressed me most in that fact from the Craven meeting, because when John Reader asked her to go about her business, it's got to be said that she looked further forward than 2 or 3 of these others in the field, but she also looks as though she's done well from this race, but she's come there absolutely cruising. Look, Epigris, admittedly a little bit green on this side, but struggling and not showing anywhere near the speed of Peter Chapelheim's filly, and she's going to be hard to turn over.
And the latest betting is that Akarid has gone out a further 1/4 point from 11-4 to 3-1. Harayir also out now from 5s to 11-2. Moonshell, who was 11-2 and visited 5s, is back at 11-2. And then it's 13-2 Macumba in 1/2 point from 7, still at 7-1. Epigris, Myself remains at 8-1. Then it's 10's Gay Galanta, 16-1 Home Magic. Support for Autumn Affair in from 50s to 33-1. All-Time Great remains at 40s, but Fleet Hill has advanced in the market from 100-1 to 66-1. Still at 150-1, Queen Fisher and Bring on the Choir, and remaining friendless at 200-1, Nina's Gold.
A lovely day, so vantage points on various parts of the stand, and it is very much, I think, standing room only now. We've had all sorts of personalities here, including King Charles II and Nell Gwyn, passed underneath John Frankham and myself. John Frankham did remark to Nell Gwyn that she looked wonderful for her age. I'm not sure the lady concerned instantly saw the joke, but it was a joke by himself.
Much more pleasant afternoon here as well this afternoon. Nice breeze blowing straight down the course, which was a benefit to the horses and jockeys, not to mention the crowds in attendance.
Well, very shortly these horses will be coming up a sight faster than King Charles's carriage came charging down. What are their last thoughts on the ring, Mac?
Well, 36 favourites and 95 runnings this century have won the 1,000 guineas. Akarid is very easy to back on the course. 3-1. It was top price 5-2 in the offices this morning. And the Rails report, not big money on Sunday racing for the Rails bookmakers, as the smaller bookmakers. 5-1, bar the one, Harayir and Moonshell.
In the choir was the Bring on the Choir was the last one to go in. All set then for this Fillies Classic, and racing in the Madigan's 1,000 guineas. And breaking out well was Bring on the Choir with Epigris, and Epigris bounced out of the stalls towards the near side and leads the Guineas field from Bring on the Choir. And then Moonshell's very handy with Harayir hunting them up in the black cap in about 3rd or 4th place at 35 miles per hour, just a medium gallop. Akarid is behind those. Out wide is Home Magic, followed by Gay Galanta in the midfield, and Queen Vision towards the near side in midfield also. Fleet Hill towards the outside of those, and then Autumn Affair towards the rear with the French challenger Macumba. But it's Epigris that's doing the donkey work. Out in front by a length to Bring on the Choir in 2nd. Minas Gold is back in 3rd, and then towards the outside is Moonshell as they head towards the final 5 furlongs in this 1,000 guineas. Epigris there in the black with white spots, followed by Bring on the Choir. In 3rd place, Harayir in the black cap. Moonshell wide of those. Then Minas Gold and Akarid heading inside the final half mile. Here's Graham Good in the grandstand.
And Macumba towards the back, so to Autumn Affair. 3 furlongs to go. Epigris runs the rail. Bring on the Choir. Further wide, Moonshell, the light blue cap. Striped cap is Akarid. Further left, the white cap with the red jacket is Home Magic. And then behind these, Myself starts to go forward. Gay Galanta behind these. At the back of the pack is Macumba, gets no run. Epigris has it. Black cap, here comes Harayir. One off the rail, race down into the dip. Harayir takes it up. Harayir, Akarid the outside. Moonshell behind these, Epigris. Then back to on the outside, Home Magic, but with the black cap, it's Harayir. And Richard Hill's going for his first English Classic. It's Harayir going on from Akarid, who's eating ground close home. but Harayir is going to take it at the post. Harayir accurate at 1-2. Moonshell in third, Home Magic 4. And then behind these came Epicree and the field trail back to all-time great, who was last of all. And so the result then of this, the Madigan's 1,000 guineas. It's a win for number 9, Harayir, in the colours of Hamdan Al Maktoum. Came home at 5-1 from Major Dick Hurn, who won this race back in 1974 with High Clear. Richard Hills is the jockey, and so for once getting congratulated there by Michael Hills, his brother, who came home on Home Magic, who finished 4th. For once, sad to say, Willie Carson made the wrong choice. He changed his mind because he's come home on the second horse. That's number 2, Accarid, Willie Carson's mount. Third horse home is number 7, Moonshell, ridden by Frankie Dettori. Of course, Accarid, trained by John Dunlop and in the same ownership as Hamdan Al Maktoum, but it was the black cap of Harayir and Richard Hills who's gained the day. Second horse home, Accarid, the striped cap there. Third horse home, Moonshell, for the Godolphin team, but it's the Harayir who was, yes, doesn't he enjoy it? Doesn't that moment so sweet for Richard Hills on Harayir? The Godolphin team finishing third on Moonshell have acquitted themselves well. So Willie Carson changed his mind, and it was that change that proved so costly. Confirmation, the winner of the Madigan's 1,000 guineas, number 9 on the card, Harayir.
Well, Richard Hills is having the run of his life. He won the Jockeys tournament in Dubai, where he was also leading rider. He's just come back from winning a huge prize for Sheikh Hamdan on Dumani in Japan. And here, the biggest moment of his career in England. And what a fine race he rode on Harayir. Not a great gallop early on, sat in, and yet, John, as you pointed out beforehand, a wonderful moment for Major Dick Hurn, who's trained so many good horses.
Wonderful, and never an anxious moment, I shouldn't think. He was always in a perfect position throughout on this filly. And what a spare ride. And Dick Hurn, the trainer, there he is. There wouldn't have been a more popular winner, regardless of anything that could have won. Incredibly popular trainer.
Dick's sometimes portrayed in the papers as being serious and lacking humour. Well, he is when it comes to his job. He's very professional, even from a wheelchair. But I promise you, when the party starts tonight, there'll be no one telling more jokes or enjoying it more.
I didn't know then the 50 years on. I didn't know. Thank you very much, sir.
50 years on, Dick.
I didn't know the 50 years on and being in the winning enclosure at Newmarket.
And when High Clear won, did you thought that all these years later you'd still be training 1,000 Guineas winners?
I never considered it impossible.
And many more, Dick.
Thanks very much. What do you never know?
What do you think when Willie deserted you?
I could understand it. I could understand it because, as he said, the filly was unbeaten and she won a Group 1. And, you know, it was a very difficult decision for him.
And this filly, Dick, you've always been thrilled with her. How good can she be?
Well, I don't know whether she'll be any better than she is today, but that was good enough.
Dick, many congratulations.
Yeah.
Here comes Willie, and he's paid to give you away.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting there that Dick Hurn made only kind comments about Willie Carson, because they're a great team. They've got great respect for each other, as indeed does John Dunlop, Accarid's trainer. But it's Richard Hill's hour, and he sat in the wings long enough, showed what he could do when Maroof won last year at Ascot, where he sprang a surprise. But this was no surprise. This was a filly with a big shot, and he executed it with real coup. It is actually nice to see someone else winning for a change, John. I mean, the big names are fantastic riders, but, I mean, that joy, I mean...
It's wonderful, and they've also grafted. These two boys, their father, Barry's made them work. They came up the hard way. They had to graft both Richard and Michael's Michael. And for years, there were never too many winners between the twins at the end of the season. But Michael always just seemed to be getting the better opportunities. And there's absolutely no doubt that Richard has flourished the last couple of years with the confidence.
She was saying, well, I'll go when you want to go.
Yeah.
And then when I asked her, she flew.
Well done. I'm
It's
so
great.
delighted.
Very
Yeah.
well. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, greatest thrill of his life was how Richard described that to Major Dick Hurn, and understandably so. Winners abroad only count for so much. This is the place, they'll never forget, where people like to win races, particularly classics.
He can't wait to get weighed in.
Can't wait to go and take the mickey out of his brother, I should think.
Well done. Get weighed in. Elaine Carson in the background there, Willie's wife, just saying well done to Richard. You see people see Dick Hurn wheelchair bound, John. It's just hard to describe some of the things he's been through. He broke his neck in a hunting accident. Whilst he did that, he suffered a broken leg, and then about 3 years ago he had a tracheal operation. Amazing man.
With us now, Sheikh Hamdan, winner, first and second prizes here, Sheikh Hamdan. A very happy day for you.
Thank you. And it is a happy day.
Willie Carson, he chose the wrong one. Did you think he'd chosen right or wrong?
No, I think it is the ground didn't help him. And I think it is Harayir is better filly in the day.
And how happy are you for Major Dick Hurn? You've supported him for so long.
Actually.
And he's been in the wheelchair and it's been difficult for him, but you've kept horses with him and he's come out tops again.
Well, to me it is, he just lost his leg, but not his mind. And he's a great trainer, and I was lucky with him.
And Sheikh Hamdan, when did he say that, did you feel this filly could be a classic filly? I know you follow them from very early on in their careers.
Well, actually, 6 weeks ago, he was not so happy because actually I kept them long at Chadwell in the winter, and he said to me, you know, we might go straight to the Guineas. But after 2 weeks he said to me, well, I think she's just work lazy, we have to run her. And he did, and she improved.
And Sheikh Hamdan, your involvement with racing seems to get more and more. You have a lot of horses, but you seem to be able to understand them and follow them. How close did you manage to keep in touch with these?
Well, actually, it is every time, you know, any new thing. It's thank for Angus, he's follow them very well, and he reported to me.
And what about other classics, derbies at this stage? We have is it Punter, the horse that won here at the last meeting?
I hope he can handle Epsom. We are going to try him on Linkfield, and we will see.
We'll see. It's great to be here fighting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh.
And Harayir is returned the 5-1 joint second favourite. It did drift out of the course. The top price in the offices this morning was Coral's 4-1. Hills and Ladbrokes only went threes, out to 5-1. The punters went along with Carson's judgment. He was wrong for once. Harayir, the 3-1 favourite, was second, and the well-backed Moon Shell was sent off the 5-1 second favourite, joint second favourite, along with the winner Harayir. But that's Harayir is only the second horse to be runner-up in the free handicap and win the 1,000 guineas. Happy Laughter did that in 1953, was beaten by the one colt. Good Brandy in 53 came on to beat Tessa Gillian in the 53 1,000 guineas, and she's only the second filly to win the 6 furlong Lowther Stakes at York in August and come on and win the 1,000. Enston Spark did that in 1978. So not bad trials they proved to be. The few fillies that have run in the free handicap, they've run fair races. Harayir's justified that. And as for Sheikh Mohammed, that's his 6th classic winner for Sheikh Mohammed. He won with Shadaid, won the 1,000 guineas, Salisbury the 90,000 guineas in the Oaks, and the 89 Derby and 2,000 guineas with Nashwan. And it's the 4th time this century an owner's had a 1-2 in the 1,000 guineas. Sheikh Mohammed in 89 with Musical Bliss and Carrera, and back in 1936 Lord Derby did it, and back in 1925 Lord Astor had the 1st and 2nd. So only the 4th owner this century to have the 1-2 in the 1,000 guineas. Harayir, for once, Willie Carson got it wrong, and so many of us, including Jim McGrath, did advise him to go along with Harayir, but he stuck with the unbeaten Harayir. He should have listened to Jim McGrath and 1 or 2 others of us.
Well, Mac's stupid saying things like that. Willie's made so many right decisions, he doesn't need any help. But what a weekend for the sire of this horse, Gulch. His son won the Kentucky Derby last night. The Dam Safana was just an ordinary race mare, but she's a lot of stamina on her dam side. Give thanks, a very good Irish trained middle distance filly. The first 3 are in the Oaks, and although this filly's a lot of speed, you couldn't say for certain she'd either stay or fail to. It's a case of wait and see. Here's the presentation.
For the winning owner of Harayir, we congratulate Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait in, wait in.
So congratulations to Sheikh Hamdan, and of course we must show our appreciation of both the winning trainer and jockey. We have a special memento for the winning trainer of Harayir. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Dick Hurn. And to go with the memento for the winning jockey, we've got a magnum of Ruinart champagne, because we reckon that Richard owes Willie a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Hills. There is one final presentation, ladies and gentlemen. This was the £100 prize for the groom in charge of the best turned out horse in the parade ring. That was the horse that finished 4th, Ho Magic, and I'm hoping that Tracy Tasker, her lass, is with us to step forward to receive that £100 from Bernard Gover with our congratulations. Tracy Tasker, ladies and gentlemen.
Bernard Gover doing the presentations there, the chairman and managing director of Madigan's, a powerful figure in every sense of the word, and here a man who's becoming an increasing power in the racing game. He was the champion jockey in Dubai in the winter, and he's won a classic here, the 1,000 guineas, Richard Hills. Willie Carson's reject, she's supposed to be. You didn't think she's much of a reject?
No, I didn't. You know, it was a very hard decision for Willie. I mean, as he said, you know, and I'm pleased he picked the other one. But, you know, I mean, it was just unfortunate he was riding the wrong one on the day.
And it's lovely to sit here and look at it, but it did appear to be a very smooth run race for you.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better ride, you know. I mean, I was a little bit concerned about where I was drawn to and, you know, wondering where the pace would be, and, you know, I didn't really want to get boxed in, but you know, I knew that I had a turn of foot if I got into any trouble, and as I said, sort of, as I jumped, she just relaxed, and I got a nice lead, and sort of 2 out, I just moved her out. I could feel a few horses coming around her, and I watched her in the free handicap, and Willie showed her daylight, and she never attempted, you know, to sort of go. Sometimes when you show daylight to some horses, they want to go straight away, and she didn't. She waited for him to ask her. So it was always my plan, if I could get a bit of room at the 2, to move out and show her daylight, and then ask her for a final run.
Richard, just about yourself. It's a funny thing, this flat racing business. Okay, successful apprentice, but it takes quite a long time. Are you finally seem to be breaking through into the big time. Champion jockey in Dubai said that, but here you are in the big time. Do you feel that it's beginning to really roll for you now?
Oh yeah, I mean, the last 18 months has been great, you know. I mean, I've been riding better horses since I got the second job for Sheikh Hamdan. It's slowly picked up, and obviously the more winners you ride, the more confidence grows around you, you know.
Many more classes to come. Richard, thank you very much.
I'd just like to say, Pat Edry will be watching this at home with a glass of wine. I just remember what he said yesterday, and thank you.
We'll have to work that one out. Richard, did we have Richard Hills, the classic winner here, and here are the other winners from Newmarket.
Yes, a recap on the first 4 winners here. The 2 o'clock went to number 3, Peace Boy, at 11-4. The 2:30, number 3, Parthian Springs, the 11-4 favourite. Non-runners there were 8, Rainbow Walk, and 12, Bayrak. The 3:05 won by number 3, Musetta, at 14-1. The 3:45, the 1,000 guineas, went to number 9, Harayir, at 5-1. The non-runner being number 4, Brief Glimpse.
And I can tell you all the first 3 will go in the Oaks. And the one who finished third, Moonshell, was the picture puzzle. Did you get it right? The star prize winner who's going to go to Epsom on Derby Day is Sean Reynolds from Lee in Lancashire. Sean, we'll be seeing you at Epsom in 4 weeks' time. And 2 £100 runner-up prizes too. Geoffrey Davis from Camberwell in London and Malcolm Parks from Brierley Hill in the West Midlands. Well done. Now, champion Tipster. Telephone claims are required for 80 points or more. So total it up, if you've got 80 points or more, maximum's 114. That's pretty high, but 80 points or more, if you've got that, I'd get on that phone pretty quick. Claim your £500 if you've got the most on 0990 100 368.
Harayir is 6-1 for the Oaks. We're on at 2:30 tomorrow at Kempton. Our VE Day celebrations there with the Jubilee Handicap, the big race, and of course we're at Chester on Tuesday, 3 days round the Rudy. We leave you with how Richard Hills and Harayir came home in the 1000.
With the black cap, it's Harayir, and Richard Hill's going for his first English Classic. It's Harayir going on from Accurate, who's eating ground close home, but Harayir's going to take it at the post. Harayir, Accurate at 1-2. Moonshell.
Channel 4 Racing, sponsored by the Daily Mirror.
And as Brough Scott has just said, there's Bank Holiday Channel 4 Racing from Kempton Park tomorrow afternoon. Coverage of 4 live races begins at 2:30. The latest issue of Inside Racing is available from newsagents, priced at £2.25.
Next Sunday.